What is up, large data bankers? Welcome back to the stream. We just took off. We just got on our skateboard. We just pressed go. We just launched. We're going. It's been a week. It's been a week. I hope you guys are all doing well. It's really good to have it be Friday again. Here in New York, the weather report, right? The weather report. The weather report is that it got cold and it got warm again, right? That's what happened. It was freezing cold. Brr, so cold, so cold. Wow, finally autumn. But no, that did not last for very long. It's back to kind of warm. What do you think about that? I don't know. This is the endless summer. It's the endless summer. I want it to be cold. I want it to be crisp. I want it to be fall. I want there to be pumpkins in the air, vests on your body, and other such autumnal things. That being said, I did have a good autumn experience this week. I got to go to one of the best bars in Brooklyn. It's out in the water, deep in a hidden place. A hidden place called Red Hook. There's a bar there. It's kind of, it takes you to another world. You know, you walk into this place. It's kind of dark. There's kind of some lights on the wall. You know, it's kind of like you walked into the set of Twin Peaks. People are dancing. People, but it's small. You know, not too many people. It's just like a little community, right? People coming back here week after week for years just to hear the same band play every Wednesday. You know, like that's the scene. So I got to go to that. That felt like a little bit of magic. Entering, you know, letting the fun come back to your life. That's kind of what I've been in the mood for. Trying to get myself into the mindset of enjoying life, enjoying hanging out with people, seeing friends. You know, opening yourself to these experiences is it's important, especially after COVID. I think it's been hard. Let's face it. We've all been a little COVID-y. We've all been a little depressed, maybe a little sad. Speaking for myself, at least. And it takes some time. It takes some focus, you know, and attention to turn your brain into a brain that's ready to enjoy itself, right? And take your mind off the work, take your mind off the problems, and just listen to the music and dance around with your friends, whatever, right? You know what I'm saying? That's the mood that I'm in right now. Thinking about that and thinking about balance, ultimately balance. So, what else is going on though? Besides balance. Yo, Alfonso. The hair has grown. The hair has grown long. Yes, it's grown long. I've been letting it free, you know? Sometimes I bind it up so that nobody can tell. But sometimes I just let it flow to enjoy myself, right? Let that freedom in, let that fun in, and so on. I hope you're doing well too, my friend. It's been a while. We should catch up at some point soon. So I don't know. Oh yeah, and Matt, thank you so much for the 18 months. It's crazy. Hello to Rusted Leaf. Hi, Jay. Hi, Rail. Hi, Lieutenant Junior. I agree. That music is so poggers. That's the most poggers of music for the beginning of a stream. I can't. Once I found that song, I'm like, I gotta use that every time. It's too good. So I just got access to the GitHub Copilot preview. I feel like it's been about, I don't know, it's been a while since GitHub Copilot's been out, right? It's been like 6 months, 9 months maybe. I feel like the buzz has died down, the hype has died down. But they did send me access, and there is actually a beta JetBrains plugin that you can use with GitHub Copilot. So I thought that could be kind of fun to tab complete our way into a hellish death land of some sort. I'm not sure how well we'll do with it, but you know, just last week we were writing some tests, and we needed to write a power set function, right? You know, give me the power set, all of the different combinations of sets within this slice of strings. That's what I was dealing with right last week. And this is a thing where I ended up just saying, all right, I'm going to Google this because we could sit here and derive it, but do I want to spend my time doing that? The answer was no. I Googled it, I found the answer, and I pasted it in, right? But imagine if we had had GitHub Copilot at that moment. That is the perfect use case for GitHub Copilot, right? Pasting a half buggy implementation of PowerSet. Because as it turns out, the implementation of PowerSet that I did paste in, it was kind of half buggy, right? There was a bug in it with slices, a slice bug. It worked for elements. It worked for lists up to size 5, and list of size 6. It stopped working because of the way that Go deals with slice appends. You know, it'll overwrite things if you're not too careful. So that was kind of funny. Point is, you know, if you copy paste stuff from Stack Overflow, it's going to be buggy. If you copy paste stuff from GitHub Copilot, it might be buggy too. This is just a price that we pay as programmers, right? We got to think carefully and not just trust random things that we find, whether the things are in our IDE or whether they're in our from Stack Overflow. Yes, exactly. Nobody who could really need more elements than 5. 5 elements of a list should be good enough for everybody, right? That's what they say. And that's what I really believe, you know. That's what I really believe. So today, you guys, what are we going to do besides GitHub Copilot? I got a few things on my mind. We got some projects that we want to finish up. We got, from 2 weeks ago, we got that multi-tenant Cockroach demo thing. I want to fix that up, respond to some comments. I finally got some review comments on that, and I'd like to just go through and clean it up and get it ready for merging. That'll be fun. Second project I got on my mind, it's also from last week. We did the randomized tests for backup and restore, right? Using our fancy schema generator machine that we really like to use for all of our randomized tests, right? Make sure that every kind of system is getting tested with the same set of random inputs. That's a good way to get your tests complete, right? Somebody edits that central repository of features. I'm jumping the gun a little bit. Somebody updates that central generation of schema thing. And then if there's a lot of tests that use it, all of those tests are going to gain the magic, right? So that's the hope. That's the goal. We're going to fix that up, respond to some comments there as well. Third idea, well, I talked a lot about this a little bit last week, and I just sort of mentioned it, but can we do better? Can we do better? The database is a complicated piece of software. It's very complicated. Every time that you add a feature to the database, there's a chance that the feature will not work with some other set of features in the database. It's very painful to deal with this problem. It's unrealistic that every time somebody adds a feature, they're going to add a test that tests that feature against all the other features in the database. It's very, very hard to make sure that happens. And so the question is, how can we do better? How can we make sure that the right kinds of tests are added for the right kinds of features? And how can we do it automatically? How can we help this big development team that we have working on this database, help open source contributors to the database notice that they need to be adding more kinds of tests or more things like telemetry, logging, tracing, you know, introspection via different parts of the code, metrics, feature flags, settings, you know. There's all sorts of things that a complete feature really has to have. And this is probably true in many kinds of software, right? It's like in this database, this is what I'm experiencing right now. But, you know, you're imagining working at a bigger company. You're making microservices. Your microservice has a list of things that it has to do, right? It's got to be that 12-factor app kind of thing or whatever. Remember the 12-factor app? There's a similar like service checklist that many companies have. You know, does your service have logs? Does your service have some amount of observability? Did you load test it? Did you put it through staging in the right way, right? And how do you build that culture of knowing when you're adding something that you've got to go through the steps? That's the question. So we have an idea. We have a bit of an idea. It's kind of like we have a struct. It's a feature struct. Inside of the feature struct, there's links to different parts of the code, right? Maybe you added a metric and you're going to put a link to the metric in the struct, and there's going to be some linters. The linters are going to check. Did you add all the metrics links? Did you add all the testing links? But that sounds annoying, right? Because let's say you're just getting started and you just wanted to check in the beginning of a feature without having it on by default, without even having it really working yet. Well, we've got an idea for that too. Imagine there's an enum, the level of maturity of the feature, right? You could start out with a feature and it's going to be immature. It's going to be in development. So, well, it doesn't have many tests, but it does have one crucial test. Does this thing have a feature flag? And is this feature flag off by default, right? And so as a feature kind of evolves through maturity, It'll add some checks, remove some checks. As you declare maybe some attributes about a feature. Maybe this is a feature to do with the SQL grammar. Maybe this is a feature to do with, adding new plan components or capabilities. Maybe this is a feature about built-in functions. Maybe this is a feature about schema elements. If you declare what you're doing in a feature, then there's gonna be a different set of checks. So how do you make sure that people are doing these things? Well, there's another idea for that, right? What about the converse? So we're testing that every feature has some things inside of it, right? But we can also be testing that in parts of the code where we add things to a big list, that there is a feature for each of the things in the big list. Let's say you add a new schema element, and you didn't add the schema element to some big map that contains that has a sort of a feature map to schema element map thing. Let's say you didn't add any. There's no match for one of these schema elements in a feature. Well, that's going to be a problem too. We're going to notice. We're going to nudge you. We're going to say, hey, did you remember to add a feature for this? So these are the ideas. These are the ideas. L Forky, what's up? Yes, reminding me to get back into the code and not just blabbing at the camera, huh? That's fair. That is fair. Maybe it's time to get into it. Maybe it's time to get into it. I do love blabbing at the camera, but maybe it's time to get into it. We got to adjust our little keyboard camera here. Seems to have had an issue. Okay. Major issue with the keyboard camera. Major issue with the keyboard camera. Huh. Well, this is a major problem, huh? I really need to make a better mount for this thing. Dude, what? This is crazy. How did I get this to work before? Ah. Okay. This is close. Now we just gotta tilt it. All right. Lithium, thank you so much for the 13 months of tier 1 subscription. Really appreciate it. Welcome back. So check out GitHub Copilot, guys. It's really pretty bad. It's really pretty bad. I might not know how to use it yet, but check this out, honestly. Check this out. Okay, so let's it's a little semi-broken. I'm not gonna lie. It's a little semi-broken. Let's say we wanted to, what should our function do? Let's try this power set thing, since we were talking about this power set thing, right? Let's try that out. We're gonna say generate the power set of the input slice, right? So I think in theory, what I can do is say, how does it work? What is the command? It's show completions is alt/. So if I hit alt/, well, that didn't do anything good. It's like, I think it's like in a little bit of a beta state. Okay, so here I have an input. So if I hit, theoretically it says you hit tab and it'll finish it, but that doesn't really work. If I hit enter, it goes away. Okay, yeah, maybe you have to type func. Okay, so here I have an input. Now, does this make any sense? Power set input slice of string gives you back a slice of strings. Okay, well that makes sense. That makes sense. I'm in insert mode. Oh, is that what it is? Okay, so let's see what it does next. Alt/. Okay, well that's not right either. Is this? I feel like it's a little confused. Maybe what I do, maybe the problem is I've got two key bindings for the same thing. Is that the issue? Let me see if I've got some key binding conflicts here. So if I search for alt/, no, it's both the same thing here. So it doesn't seem like I have any conflicts here, which is interesting. Okay, let's try again. Let's try. You see, and it'll like sort of give me a random suggestion when I'm not like ready for it, so to speak. Okay, so I'm in insert mode. There I have a suggestion. I'm gonna hit tab. Great. I've declared a power set output. That seems pretty good. That seems pretty good. Okay, so here's, it like kind of works. Maybe it's like I just have to be in insert mode and like wait a little bit. So what is this saying? For each element in, okay, so it's calculating, so it's doing kind of like a binary, like a what do you call this? Powers of 2 sort of situation, right? Because that's the number of outputs. So I guess that kind of makes sense. Maybe. Give me another suggestion, Copilot. Give me more. What are you gonna do next here? You gonna do nothing? Give me something else. It's kind of weird. It's like you have to like convince it to sort of do something here. Skelly. What's up, Skelly? Give me another suggestion. Yeah, it's kind of like it's really good at once I start typing something, but I don't want to type anything. I just want it to do all the work for me, right? Just do all the work for me. Give me another one. Give me another one. Give me more. Give me more. How do you, yeah, here's a question. Like, how am I supposed to know when this thing's like, this thing is like, I'm done with the algorithm now. It doesn't really like tell me when it's done. It's just sort of like giving me random code that I don't understand, which is sort of fun. Like I need to return P at some point as well, right? It's supposed to do blocks of code instead of only line by line. Yeah, it might be that like, it might be that the Goland or JetBrains version is like not quite done yet. Because I know that this is sort of beta mode here. It's in sort of beta mode here. So it could be that Copilot is not really ready for, where is the, is there some settings for this? Copilot. It just sort of says there's one setting and it's enable or disable. So maybe there's sort of an issue, which is that it doesn't really know how to do like a big block or something like that. Line 77. Do you mean right here, right? Give me something. Give me something. It was sort of there, right? Like it's like really confused because it sort of like tabs through a bunch of the words here, and then it like eventually will give you something. Like I think this is probably what we want, right? But it's a little bit odd. A little bit odd, isn't it? Rebind the suggest completion to something else. The thing is that like, yeah, okay, we could try that. We could try that. We could try that. What if you need to select the whole comment above the function and press Alt? Let's try it again. So you're saying I grab like this and then hit like this. That doesn't work at all. I feel like it's probably just that this thing is broken in IntelliJ, basically. Out of curiosity, like let's say we had VS Code open, which I do have VS Code installed. If we had VS Code open and we make a new file, and I don't really know how to use VS Code here, but let's say we installed Go here. Let's install the extensions for Go. Yeah, that seems good. I don't know if I need to do this stuff. But let's say I just have this Go file. Maybe this will be enough. And we write generate the power set of the input slice. Generate the power set of the input slice, right? And then, so it also gives me just one line at a time here, which is kind of interesting. Or open Copilot, is that something? Oh, wow. Oh, okay. So the VS Code version is like way more advanced, dude. Look at this. It'll either do it line by line. It'll either do it line by line. Like over here, I can say, tab, enter. Oh, and sometimes it gives you a whole block. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? This looks a lot like the solution that I ended up using before. It's kind of weird. So there's like a few different ways that it'll do things for you. There's a few different ways. You can say, we'll do this again. And then if I go over here, duplicates hidden, huh? Weird. I don't know. It's like a little confusing. It seems like it's still kind of in progress, maybe. Work in progress. It's not quite working perfectly just yet. Fast inverse square root recommendation. Fast inverse square root of the input. Synthesize. Duplicates hidden. And it just gives me the same comment. Weird, huh? What if I go down here and then I do synthesize solutions? Ah, okay. So you have to be on the next line. And it gives me back a bunch of weird stuff, huh? Wow. This feels like I'm just dumping out random random code. It does feel like the Visual Studio Code version is like way more advanced. Rambo Sweets, you need this because you suck at coding. Tab 9. I've heard that Tab 9 is pretty basic. I think GitHub Copilot's kind of like the next level, supposedly. The fast inverse square root was explicitly blocked as a bad word. Oh, is that because it was like too close to copyrighted code or something like that? GitHub Copilot for reviews. Yeah, that'd be pretty crazy, dude. Wow. That's pretty interesting. That's pretty interesting that they would block it as a bad word. So here back in IntelliJ world, it really does not do it nearly as good of a thing. It's like basically pseudo broken, I would say. It does it line by line, and you can't see the options, and it's really bad at like starting off a suggestion. It like doesn't really, you kind of have to trick it. You have to like write something and then delete it. Oh, that's the trick. You write something, you delete it, and then it'll give you something. So let's see what happens if I just keep doing that for the rest of the function here. Yeah, the thing is at a certain point, if it doesn't have anything to say on a particular line, it'll just give you nothing, and you're sort of like left to wonder, you know, what to do next, which is a little bit of an awkward user experience in terms of like trying to code without any prior knowledge at all, which is basically what I'm trying to do here. But this seems to be good. I mean, I think that was correct, right? And it gives me nothing. And then I go down to the next line and then return PS. So here's a question. Let's say we have this function here, and we can say now, test the power set function. What is it gonna do? What is it gonna do if I say test the power set function right here, and then I say func test power set t-testing.t. Well, that was cool. It knew to do that. I think that might have just been the normal Go stuff though. This song is terrible. Okay. So then I go down here. I'm gonna type something. It's gonna give me an input. PS equals power set of input. Okay, that's pretty good. If len of PS is not equal to 8, that seems right, dude. That seems right. Gives me an error. I mean, it's like a little bit of a hard-coded test case, but that's okay. I'm still impressed. It's gonna test an individual element here. So how does it know this? This is kind of wild, huh? How does it know? Like what is it doing here? It's really frustrating how you have to do it line by line here, but I'll forgive them for that, you know? There's probably like a better way that I just don't know. Dude, it's like you don't even have to know how to program. It's kind of epic. It's kind of epic. Do you think, okay, here's a question. Do you guys think that this implementation is going to pass its own test case? Do you think this implementation is going to pass its own test case? Okay, let's do a prediction here. We're going to do a prediction. We're gonna do a prediction, and the prediction's gonna be Will GitHub Copilot power set pass its own test cases? It's the prediction's too long. Will power set pass its own test cases? Okay, so submission period 2 minutes. Okay, get your predictions in. We'll find out what's going to happen here in just a few minutes. Do you think that this exact code exists on GitHub? That's another question that I have. I'm annoyed that there's such a... Oh, wait. I was missing an entire thing. I think we might have kind of a good, like a big solution completion window, just like we do in VS Code. That's going to be much better. That's going to be much better. Okay, so this is the end of the test case, it seems like. Okay, so we're gonna move this. Hold on. Let's make a new file here. We're gonna call it power set. We're just gonna copy this, put it over here. Actually, why don't we just rename this thing to be power set test, just for fun, just to make things a little bit easier on ourselves here. The other thing that I really want to know is there a power set redeclared in this package? Is there just an exact copy of this code on GitHub somewhere? I'm going to find out the answer to that next, after we find out the result of this exciting prediction. I don't know. I'm thinking that it's actually looking pretty good. It's really close. If it's not correct, I think it's going to be close. Okay, let's see what happens here. We're going to run it. Oh, wow. So who's winning money? Who's winning money at this point? Who's winning money? There's going to be some exciting channel points gifting here to the yeses, because the test cases did pass. So that's really quite exciting. We've all learned a lesson today. And as a result, we're a little disturbed. I mean, is this test case the most adorable looking test case? Probably not. Feels like it's a little hard coded, it feels like a little gross. Like, would you really write all this code the way that this is written, or would you kind of automate it? I would probably try to automate it a little bit. But anyway, okay, it's now time to see if there's code just like this on GitHub though, right? Isn't that sort of the next step here? Why does it sound like there's a modem going on right now? I don't know. GitHub.com. We're gonna search for test power set code. We're going to constrain it to Go. So there's 24 of these things. Matt put 8,800 on no. You're like the Santa of this prediction. So there's a bunch of these, and I feel like one of them is definitely going to be the exact thing, right? It's got to be. This one is not relevant. This one is not relevant. Dude, if it isn't exactly on GitHub, I'm actually going to be impressed. Not going to lie. It's not this one. Ah! What's this one? No? So this is sort of a more automated, nice way of doing the test though, right? This is what I would expect that somebody would actually write if they weren't a machine, right? Making it a little bit less annoying to write all those test cases out. Okay, this one we saw. This one, who knows what this is about? It's kind of another sort of table-driven test, the way that we like to write Go tests. This one is some random thing. Okay, how about all these? I mean, you know, more power to this thing though, because it had to learn a lot of code to know what to write for me, right? So I'm impressed. Even if it's exactly in here, I'm gonna be impressed. I'm impressed either way. So this is sort of a hard-coded thing that doesn't have ABC in it. This is some like weird thing that doesn't actually have an implementation. So there you go. Here's some table-driven test version. Here's some other table-driven tests. I mean, one thing, yeah, it's like everybody in Go uses table-driven tests, and this thing did not generate me a table-driven test. But can I be that upset about that? Probably not. You know, probably, now that I think about it, presumably what it's doing is it's like coming from some implementation in a different language, because it can do that. It can do like style transfer, right? Oh my God, wait a minute. Matt, do you see what's going on here? Do you see what's going on here? This is your code, my friend. This is your code. This is Go set. Test power set. Well, it didn't use your code. AI has been learning from all of our code, and we're all doomed, for sure. Well, to be honest, it doesn't really seem like this code exists. So color me shocked, color me excited, color me impressed. But it seems like Copilot really came up with some new code. So here's another thing. I wanted to come back because I didn't notice that they do have like a show me all possible completions thing, which I wanted to look at. So if I hit Alt Enter and I hit Copilot Solutions, see, this isn't quite right. How do I func? Maybe I have to start the func power set like this. And then how do I give me solutions now, please, Mr. Computer. Give me the solutions. Give me the solutions. Yeah, so it doesn't really seem like this thing is quite up to the VS Code standard just yet. It does sort of seem like you've got to do it line by line still, which is pretty broken. But that's all right. You know, it'll presumably get there, right? It'll presumably get there one day. Just not... Today is not that day. Well, I guess we've learned a lot. We've learned that GitHub Copilot's coming for our jobs, little by little. It's coming for our algorithms. It's definitely coming for our simple algorithms that you're going to write over and over again. And it's even coming for our test cases, which I find terrifying, right? Let's say you get used to the idea that this thing is good, and you give it some test cases to generate, and it generates you some test cases, and they all pass, right? It's like, what do you do at that point? You're like, okay, the AI tested itself, and the AI thought it was right. Like, what do you do exactly at that point? I feel like if you were me, you sort of panic and have a existential crisis. Or maybe you just accept it and go on. The code passed the test cases, but are the test cases valid? I do think they are, right? So a power set, right? We're looking at all of the different subsets within this ABC set. The first one's empty. The second one's just A. The third one's just B. The fifth one's just C, going back up. The fourth one's A comma B. The sixth one is A comma C. The seventh one is B comma C. And then the last one is all three of them. So that seems right to me. That seems right to me. If the code doesn't work, it isn't the dev's fault. Exactly. It's the machine, dude. It's the machine. We're blaming the machine. We have no personal responsibility to making our code run correctly, is kind of the message that I'm hearing about this situation. Yeah, dude. They took our gerbs. So really the question though is like, let's say, what would happen if I tried to have this thing write some database code, right? What would happen if I tried to make this thing write some database code? What exactly would happen? I kind of want to try it out. What should we try here? What if we wrote like, what if we Write a really nice database. What if we looked at like, what would be something that I would want to automate, right? It's like, should we start easy or should we start hard is the question, right? Like we could, I've been looking at this function called generate constrained scans. So generate constrained scans is this thing that does some completely insane things that a machine should presumably never be able to figure out, right? It's sort of the part of the code that, given a optimizer representation of a scan, like a database scan, if you're reading a bunch of data from disk, and given an optimizer representation of filter expression, so like where x equals 5, and given also some information about the schema of the table that you're scanning, this function will produce a set of constrained scans. So it'll actually edit the scan so that it'll be more efficient. Rather than having a filter on top of a scan, it'll push the filter down into the scan and make the scan more efficient. So there's presumably no way that that GitHub Copilot could ever write this function, right? Because it's too complicated and like weird and specific to the database. So naturally, I think we should try to see what happens when we try to make it write such a thing. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just delete all of this code and see what it does. Oh man, it should be funny, right? It'll just get confused, right? It'll just get confused. It couldn't possibly know what to do here, right? Okay. Couldn't possibly know what to do. So we're going to start by hitting Alt/. Yeah, it's very confusing why it does this. There must be some conflict in the plugin. Let's try to bind it to a different thing because that's driving me crazy. Even though if I search in the plugin for Alt/, nothing comes up. Oh, something does come up. Cyclic expand word. Well, that would explain it. Maybe it's a different Copilot. Copilot? Now I'm confused. Oh, it's the other slash. It's the other slash? Okay. Well, this has been my entire fault this whole time, huh? Why don't we bind this to Alt-C maybe? Let's bind this to Alt-C and see what happens after that. So silly me, I've just been doing a ridiculous thing this entire time. Let's try to bind this to Alt-C and see what we get here. Alt-C. Okay, so we're going to try to bind this Alt-C and see what happens. So we're going to go here. We're going to hit Alt-C. All right. So we're checking to see if it's not an index join. That's an interesting way to start. Makes sense. And if it's not an index join, we're just going to return. Okay. Interesting. Let's see what it does after that. So we skip if it's... I don't even know what this thing does. Disallows the use of non-covering indexes for scanning this table. Okay. Disallows the use of non-covering index joins. Non-covering indexes for scanning this table. I don't know what that means. Okay, we're going to skip that. So let's see. After we've decided that it is not a no index join scan, what do we do next? We hit Alt-C, and we get no completions. We get no completions, you guys. Okay. Well, it didn't exactly do all that much for me. Oh, that's sad. That's sad. Well, it makes sense, right? Of course it couldn't complete such a complicated thing. Of course it couldn't complete such a complicated thing. I am feeling a little bit bummed about that because I just thought it would be funny for it to generate some code that did something, right? Like I wasn't really expecting it to be correct, but I was sort of expecting that it would do something, maybe nonsensical, and that would be kind of funny. So I'm a little disappointed there, but that's okay. What happens if I go up and do I get a different one if I start again? I do get a bunch of stuff. If the table is not partitioned, there's nothing to do. If the original scan operator is on a virtual table, then don't try to push filters into constrained scans if there are no. And this must be text that's kind of taken from other parts. Let's go with this one and see what happens. So this isn't even a valid piece of code for whatever reason, which is a bummer. Oh, it's because it's in a different package, huh? Interesting. Does it ever generate other thing Anything other than web stuff boilerplate. Well, you missed it generating power set. It was able to generate power set really effectively, actually. So I was pretty impressed by that. I was pretty impressed by that. So what happens if I go with this one? None of this makes any sense. If there are no remaining filters, there's nothing to do. Okay, sure. Let's accept that. If len remaining filters is 0, then return. Okay, great. So we're happy with that. We're happy with that. That makes like some semantic sense in some context. Whoops, I'm bad at like accepting the suggestion. I need to hit tab for that. And then down here it just runs out of steam very quickly on this kind of complicated function. How to make it write stuff like a star. Oh, it could definitely figure out a way to write a star, right? Let's use VS Code for that because it's better in VS Code. If we go to VS Code and we say write, like we'll do like a star search function. Then over here we say func a star, right? It's gonna be so good at this, dude. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. It made a star of some sort. I think that algorithms, it's going to be really, really good at algorithms. So I think what it's going to be bad at is anything that's like, it's going to be good at algorithms. It's going to be good at boilerplate. And like, yeah, that's going to be the stuff it's good at. Maybe it'll be good at other stuff too, but I feel like the key thing is algorithms and boilerplate, just because they're written so many times. That's the thing. It's like whoever wrote a bunch of code for a certain domain, whichever domains have a lot of code written for them, they're going to be really good. And algorithms are like that. Boilerplate is like that by sort of definitional. Definitionally, boilerplate has been written a lot. All right, we're going back into relaxing music mode. This playlist always sort of like starts to hit a wall. Really bad at algorithms, so it works for me. Yeah, exactly. I think it makes sense. Like, why memorize algorithms? It's not really worth it. Yeah, so that's pretty cool though. That's pretty cool. So actually, what about my favorite algorithm, union find? What about my favorite algorithm, union find function? Union find's tricky because it's a data structure and a function. So we're gonna make it right. Union find, type union find struct. And then what is it going to give me? It's going to give me a parent, okay, and a rank. And then what if I say, well, it knows how to do an init. Okay, this init seems plausible. It makes a union find of a certain size. It doesn't, and then it initializes it all, which this kind of makes some sense. So then what is it going to let me do next? If I start completing again. And here's my find. Okay, so anybody remember how union find works? So the idea of union find, you guys, is that it's this disjoint set data structure, right? Where it's like you can start, you can represent a bunch of sets and they're all disjoint, but if you want to merge the sets together, it efficiently can do that. So here's what my find does. Is it says that if my parent is equal to myself, then I'm done. So that kind of makes sense, right? Because the way it works is it traverses this graph searching for the end of the set. And if it finds itself, that means it's found the sort of representative item in the particular set. So I think that like kind of makes some sense. And then otherwise what it does is it sort of memoizes the result of finding the kind of representative element of its parent set by setting that to the parent of itself, and then it is finished at that point. So I think that's plausible. And now what about the sort of union algorithm? What is it going to give me for that? Is it going to give me something? So unite, it's called unite, which I think is fine. And unite doesn't actually get finished, which is kind of weird. It like sort of does half of it. I don't know what to do with that, right? It's like, how come it didn't give me the whole thing? Let's try again. Let's try again here. Synthesizing solutions. Unite. There's a few different unites. Let's just pick the first one at random here. So what does unite do? It says it finds X. It finds Y. If they're the same already, meaning they both have the same representative element, you're done. They're already union together. Otherwise, it does some stuff with rank, which I forget how the rank part works, really. I guess the rank stuff is about making it more efficient, but it's deciding who to parent inside of who. And if one of them has a lesser rank, it's going to parent in that direction. If it has this other direction, you parent it in the other direction. Then you increment the rank. That's all there is to it. That's all there is to it. So what's it going to give me after I'm done with that? Same. Okay, sure. Is same a typical function in Union Find? I don't know about that one, really. Size. It's giving me all these utility methods. I love this. This is impressive. It's giving me a count. This is impressive. Okay, so here's a question, you guys. Here's a question. Is this going to lead to a lot of duplicated boilerplate algorithms? Like, is this just going to lead to people never using libraries ever again? What do people think about libraries? Is libraries a good thing or a bad thing? I feel like Copilot's like the end of libraries, right? Lots of duplicated, subtly wrong algorithms. It works really well with JavaScript, and with everything else it's okay, but just not as good for some reason. Harry Hopkinson, hello. Thanks for the follow. Also, Tall Pants Kenrick. Appreciate the follows. People who wrote them won't understand. Yeah, interesting. Forky, thank you for the follow. Wow. I don't know, guys. I'm impressed. I'm excited, scared, and impressed. Yes, Coxbox. We actually just earlier tested our power set implementation that we wrote with Copilot using a test suggestion from Copilot, and it in fact did pass its own test. So we learned that Copilot likes itself. But I think, as far as I could tell, the tests were correct and the algorithm was correct too. So I think it sort of worked. People write algorithms they don't understand all the time now too. Yeah, that is definitely true. That is definitely true. Like, people will just sort of copy paste stuff from Stack Overflow, not understand it, and then ship it, right? But, you know, probably it works a lot of the time. So it's like, maybe that's fine. Maybe that's fine. I don't know. We're not all having to be computer scientists implementing and inventing new algorithms all the time, right? Most of software engineering does not involve having to invent new, subtle, complicated algorithms. It's just not, right? We all know that. And we all know that you have to interview for positions anyway using algorithms, right? You got to grind that leet code, which is just sort of a bummer of the industry, isn't it? That's a major bummer for many people. Many people. Something that I think we should be solving. I think it's something that we should be solving. Making tests more pragmatic. You don't have to invent the algorithms, but if you push it, you should understand it. Yeah, that's true. That's definitely true. I don't disagree with you there. I don't disagree with you there at all. I guess what I was trying to say is that many times people can get away with not having to write that algorithm in the first place. They can use a library, right? They can write something simple. Many cases, not all cases, but many cases. I think at Cockroach, working on the database, there's a lot of algorithms. There's definitely a lot of algorithms, and there's a lot of like custom algorithms, I would say. But most places aren't really like Cockroach, I would say. Even within Cockroach, there's a ton of code that's not algorithms heavy though, right? There's like all of this important stuff, tons of it, that's all about business logic, right? Implementing various things, you know, I don't know, like permissions in the database. Very complicated, very important. Not a lot of heavy algorithms in the permission system, but a lot of heavy business logic. So everywhere you go, you're going to be writing stuff like that. Anyway, whatever. This was exciting. We wrote Union Find without having to think at all. It's absolutely just completely crazy. I work at an insurance company. There are no algorithms, but we test for them for some reason. Exactly, yes. So that's the thing, right? It's like, how do you figure out who's a smart engineer that you should hire? And the answer for a long time has been quiz them on leet code questions. And, you know, I think there's some credible ways out of this situation that people are starting to push in the direction of, like, you know, take home assignments that have to do with a practical test. People object to that though for other reasons, because, well, it takes time out of their day. Do they want to be compensated for that time? I don't know. Like a permissions in the database. Very complicated, very important. Not a lot of heavy algorithms in the permission system, but a lot of heavy business logic. So everywhere you go, you're going to be writing stuff like that. Pair programming. Can you do pair programming with the person and do an interview that way? Maybe that's a good way to learn if you can work with somebody. Maybe that person can do a code review for you. Maybe you can do a code review for them and talk about it. These are some ways. Crazio, thank you so much for the Prime subscription. And thank you, Jeffrey Bezos, for your generosity. Praise Bezos. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's going to take a little bit of pushing, though, in the industry. Getting everybody to try this stuff out at the same time. Getting people interested. Getting companies confident that they're going to be hiring well. The truth is that a lot of the time when you're hiring, it's like you have this real fear as a hiring manager or a group of managers or a company that you just got to get the right people, right? You don't want to make mistakes in hiring. They can be so costly. So that's why people sort of regress to the mean and just do this leak code stuff, because it's sort of like, well, it's good enough. You know, it'll work. Copilot generate for binary search. Let's find out. Binary search a tree. Bunk. Binary search. I want it to do the thing where it gives me the whole. Okay, I'm going to delete this. I want it to see the, or I guess it's really more of a list that it's sorting through. Anyway, that's fine. I want it to give me a whole solution here. Let's pick the first one here. Oops, let's pick the first one here. So you're probably talking about there's some midpoint bug, right? So it's searching a list for an element, and the list is sorted, right? Who could tell me whether this is correct or not? Maybe for intro jobs so you stand out from the crowd, but what about devs with experience? Only system design questions in that case. Yeah, I think that's reasonable, but from the perspective of the team, you know, how do they know that the person who's acing the system design questions can code? You know, you got to test for it somehow. Maybe it can be a portfolio test. Maybe you can show off things that you built in the past and somehow credibly prove that you did those things. Semantics of Go's integers. I don't know. I think they overflow. Don't they overflow in Go? Go overflow integer. How is integer overflow handled? Well, it's ignored. No, there's no error, there's no bug, it just does its thing. So presumably, this means that there's a bug in our little program, right? Well, who needs this? I guess undefined behavior, though, on the other hand, like, it's a well-known bug that most people don't get. So chances are, if you wrote binary search, that person's going to write the bug as well. So it's sort of it's like a bit of a catch-22. LaCroix, the soda that tastes like someone ate a lime and burped into the soda. Yes. Delicious LaCroix. You gotta love the burp soda. Delicious. It really just tastes great, doesn't it? Doesn't it? Well, anyway, guys, I don't know. This was interesting. This was very interesting. We learned some things. I think that I had a little bit of things that I wanted to try to accomplish. So we might jump into that now. But this has been enlightening, and we'll see how GitHub Copilot fits into my workflow, if at all. We'll see how it does it. I think that there's also some policy. We're not. I think that people are scared of GitHub Copilot, and I think that we might be not really checking in code that has GitHub Copilot proven it. Although how could you even prove that, right? But we'll see how things go with that as a result. Just because, you know, it'll be interesting. We'll find out things. So what did I want to actually accomplish? on the non-GitHub Copilot side of things today. Let's go ahead and just delete this file. Scared of having to maintain code written by a coworker who turns out to be, yes, exactly. It's sort of like, are you maintaining code from a person, or are you maintaining Copilot code, which wasn't really made by a person? That's a question. That's a question. I don't know. I'm pretty anti-Copilot too, but I think that people will probably find a way to use it responsibly over time. I think that I also don't think it's going to put anybody out of a job, you guys. I think that's a ridiculous claim. Nobody's going to be put out of a job because of this thing. It's just not going to be possible, right? I think it might enable more people to do programming, but there aren't enough programmers. And I think it's going to be all right. I think it's going to be all right. That's my take. If an AI generates an entire app and the code is awful, but the app works, does it matter? I don't think they can do much if they don't understand programming. Yeah, exactly. That's kind of like what I'm thinking. I think you need to know some basics. You're going to learn some things, but you definitely need to understand programming. It's a better alternative for copying from Stack Overflow. I agree with that. Well, do I agree with that? I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. It's a different alternative. I think with Stack Overflow, you get a few more things. You get social proof. You know, you get to see how many people upvoted. You get to see any comments. You get to see any discussion that might happen. But GitHub Copilot's kind of taken out of context. It's taken out of context, and that can be different, right? You could be copying in buggy code that probably somebody would have downvoted or copied. Yes, just wait till people start pasting Copilot snippets on Stack Overflow. Oh my God, that's going to be, I'm sure they won't take long before that starts to happen. But that is really terrifying. Yeah. Dude, imagine a plugin that just automatically answers a Stack Overflow question as it comes in by co-piloting the response. What would happen? That'd be chaos. That'd be absolute chaos, dude. I mean, Stack Overflow itself is also kind of problematic though, right? It's like, it's getting calcified. People don't add to it as much. It's like, Stack Overflow is getting weird, isn't it? Dude, check out this crazy footstool I got. Check out this footstool. So here's the bottom of the footstool. Like, what is this? And here's the top of the footstool. It's like kind of dirty, you know? Like, what is this? What is this? I found this in an attic. I don't know whose it was. It's not comfortable. It's like terrible, but I kind of love it, right? Look at this. It's just insanity. It's just insanity. So I have this under my desk, and I put my feet on it sometimes. I don't know. Pretty weird. It gets up and walks around at night 100% calling it right now. Yeah, basically. All right. So here's what I wanted to get to today, you guys. It was this multi-tenant flag. Oh yeah, so huge announcement. I forgot to mention a very important thing that happened this week, you guys. Holy shit, I can't believe I forgot to mention this. Major announcement. Major announcement. Cockroach Cloud Serverless has been launched into beta form. It's really exciting. You guys should check it out. It's really exciting. So Cockroach Cloud Serverless, and I'm not just saying this as a hashtag ad. I do work for Cockroach, but it is awesome. It is 100% awesome. From the bottom of my heart, it is awesome. The idea is that it's serverless SQL that's pay as you go. So imagine you're making an app. You're making a small app. You want to start. You want to have a database within 10 seconds, but you don't know where to turn. You don't want to pay for a Postgres box. You don't want to pay for a new, instance on Google Cloud or Supabase or something, which you need to sort of, instantiate a whole Postgres instance. So with Cockroach Cloud Serverless, the idea is that you can get a free serverless database that is SQL. And you don't pay for anything until you exceed some limit. Once you exceed the limit, though, you're only paying for the extra request units that you use. You're only paying for the extra storage that you use. And it really is very cheap, you guys. It's very economical, and it's really good for apps, honestly. It's good for prototypes and small developers making things, trying things out. I think it's great. I think it's really exciting. And I think it's going to be a low-cost way to get started with SQL that, I don't know, it's next level. So you guys should definitely check it out. So to check it out, you can go to cockroachlabs.cloud and then sign up for here. You can log in with GitHub. I think I can just do this on stream. These are just some test clusters I have, but basically, you kind of create a cluster here, and you can pick this serverless beta option. It's got Google Cloud, regions, spend limit, so I can sort of choose how much I want to pay, right? And I could put a spend limit of $10. If I do that, I'll have to put a credit card, but I don't have to do that. I could put a spend limit of 0, and it'll just cut me off when I hit the cap. And what the cap is, what is the cap? Where do I figure out what the cap is? It's a pretty good cap, but I kind of forget. Oh yeah, 250 million request units and 5 gigabytes of storage for free. And a request unit, it's just sort of an abstract unit of CPU and network, but it's kind of a lot. Like you're not going to burn through 250 million request units very, very easily. And so I do this, I set it up, I pick my region, I pick my cluster name, I create my free cluster. And then in 5 to 10 seconds, I have a Postgres database that is Cockroach, actually. It's sort of a Postgres-like thing that's made of Cockroach on the inside. So I don't know. This is badass, and you guys should check it out. I could connect to this with an ordinary app. I can do anything with this. I could put it into my IDE. I could put it into my Python app, my Ruby app, my serverless function. I can do stuff with this. So it's pretty sweet. It's pretty sweet. I really hope you guys try this thing out, because I think it's awesome. And yeah, we've been working hard on it. Do you have to open a connection as request response? So it is still request response. That's kind of the next thing to tackle, tall pants, because everybody wants a way to not have to open a connection, and it's very reasonable. We have some ideas here. There's a few other products out there that we're thinking of pairing closely with Cockroach. Prisma, Postgres, Hasura. These are all things that let you have kind of a serverless backend that connects to a database like Cockroach, and you can do ordinary REST API calls to those platforms. Right? We're not there yet. We're getting there. This is the first time we're launching this thing, basically, and there's more to do. But I'm really excited where it is right now. So there's not yet that REST interface to hit serverless Cockroach, but there will be. There will be. We're gonna figure out something there, UConness. We're just not quite there yet. You had a horrible experience when a huge bunch of Lambdas started up and all open connections to my database at the same time. It did not go well. Yeah. So that's definitely a risk, right? And that's why. I mean, so there's a couple things. Tall pants. On the one hand, that's a bad experience because you are using a traditional database, which doesn't scale the way that a serverless database does, right? Traditional database, it's a fixed size instance, right? And it's going to hit a limit. It's going to run out of space. It's going to run out of capacity. It can't scale automatically at all. With serverless, you don't have to worry about that at all, because on the back end, it'll automatically scale up the more connections you're opening. And you won't really have the same sort of problem. You'll possibly have other problems with a situation like that, where you're just making unlimited connections to a database or something, but you definitely won't have the same sort of problems. Like serverless functions and serverless databases are designed to handle this sort of elastic scaling problem that you're talking about. So I do think it's something that you should consider looking at. Even before the rest. So a bit of hashtag ad content, but it's also very, very much from the heart. I think it's really good stuff, and I think it's pretty neat. So there's some graphs, storage used, request units, and SQL statements. These things will populate if I connected it and did stuff to it. I've got a little graph of my request units that I've used and my spend limit that I set to 0, my storage, my throughput, bunch of things like that. So you just use this as any other Postgres connection with a connection string URL. Yes, exactly. What about if your Lambda is posted to an SNS topic first, then SNS to SQS, then from SQS to DB? Yeah, that would totally work. That would totally 100% work to do it that way. Any way of doing it, like with a backend as a service style thing connected to serverless functions is a great way to use Cockroach, serverless, or really other databases too. But I think that would definitely work. So it's exciting, you guys. It's really quite exciting. I don't know if you remember, a long time ago we did this CockroachDB on stream thing where we're doing the dedicated Cockroach Cloud, playing around with it. We had that system where you could type a SQL command into the chat and it would just send it to the database, and people were watching, seeing what would happen. That was pretty fun. Twitch runs CockroachDB. Maybe I should resurrect that thing because I thought it was pretty hilarious. But we've really come such a long way since then. Actually, 100 RUs per second. This actually is. Oh yeah. We can, thanks for reporting that. We'll fix that. This actually is. Oh my gosh. A typo master, Moeef. Thank you for this feedback. We will deal with this. Reported. I've always wondered, how does a large product like Cockroach, where presumably a lot of devs are committing all the time, make sure that Postgres compatibility never breaks? That's a great question. I mean, that was, we were talking about that with that feature testing talk that we were having earlier. It's definitely complicated. And the answer is just a crap ton of testing, right? It's we have a lot of unit tests, we have a lot of integration tests, and we pay attention, and we have long release cycles. That also kind of helps. It's like we're not yet continually releasing Cockroach to serverless, which would be awesome, but we're just not really quite there yet infrastructurally. And I don't know however close we will be to that, but yeah. El Mao Matt applied for Cockroach, he never responded. I'm sorry to hear that. That doesn't sound good. You could send me a DM on Twitter, and I can try to help you out with that. No guarantees, but definitely DM me on Twitter, and I'll happy to look into it for you. Copilot plugin for WebStorm? Are you sure? I think there might be, actually, because they did actually. Maybe it was just recently. Maybe that's actually why they gave me early access, because I mentioned that I use Goland. But there is a plugin now that's sort of official from GitHub that I think this will work with all of the JetBrains things. I think so. You might want to recheck on that, Fabian. Has it ever happened compatibility during internal testing? Yes. Oh yeah, all the time. We definitely have a lot of trouble. I mean, Postgres is a very complicated and sophisticated and amazing database, and trying to maintain compatibility with it is no small task. Filled the role. I'm sorry to hear that. There's always going to be more openings and more chances, so I encourage you to apply again at some point. But yeah, sorry it didn't work out this time. Yeah. So guys, I don't know. I hope you try this thing out. That's the point. I hope you try this thing out. It's going to get a lot better too. This is just the first release. This is our beta. It's going to get way better. It's going to be nuts. It's going to be the future. I'm really excited. Really quite excited. Right. So I got on this tangent because it's not really a tangent. I meant to talk about this, but this tangent was because of this PR that we're going to start looking at again in a little bit, which was to add this multi-tenant flag to the demo mode so that people are testing with multi-tenant a little bit more. Multi-tenant is the technology that powers the serverless offering of Cockroach. So that's why this PR at all. What's the most important skill as a backend engineer? I would say learning to learn. You gotta be able to learn. That's the key thing. Being flexible, following patterns, figuring out how things work, listening, empathy for your fellow coworkers. These are the most important things. Heard of RethinkDB? Yes, in fact, I actually worked at RethinkDB, L4Key, for a little bit back in 2011 or 2010. 2011 or 2010, I worked at RethinkDB for a little bit as an intern. I'm not sure if it really counts as working for a company if you were an intern, but I did work with those guys. It was very interesting. RethinkDB, I think they had some issues, but I think the real amazing thing that they did was they captured a lot of developer love with their real-time feed feature, right? That was really the most amazing thing about RethinkDB, is that developers loved that real-time query feed feature. People were like totally obsessed with that thing. And I think with reason, it's pretty cool. It's just one giant cockroach cluster under the hood. So it's not just one, there's like a few. But from an implementation perspective, yes, the idea is that there's a multi-tenant database that has a lot of, it's kind of decomposed into halves. There's like a key value half that does all the storage and the replication and the transactions. And then there's like a SQL half, which have these sort of more stateless, ephemeral SQL pods getting scaled up and scaled down. And it's multi-tenant. So there you go. Wanted to use it badly. Saw their talk on YouTube where they say they can't guarantee the live feed will happen 100% of the time. Yeah. So rethink, developer love, maybe it wasn't the most mature database in the world at any point. But I think they had a lot of developer love, and that's really important. They learned. I really did not work there for very long, you guys. It was a very short internship, just because it was during the winter. I kind of knew some of the guys who worked there, and they were like, come intern with us for a winter, between my quarters at school. And so I went and worked with them for like a month or something like that. So I really didn't work there for very long. But yeah, they had some really good product market fit instinct is what I would say about RethinkDB. Really good instinct on that. 3 cockroach clusters under a trench coat. SHA-256. I know about it a little bit. I should probably fix my project to be less goofy. Commands, edit, project. Fixing up some old PRs about demoing CockroachDB's multi-tenant features. And then I'll link to the PR. Why not? Why not? Why not? You know what I should really probably do, you guys? I want to make a little overlay here that says something. I want to make a little overlay that says get a free CockroachDB serverless database and try it out. cockroachlabs.cloud. No credit card needed, just GitHub login. Oh God, it's a little bit large, huh? How do I fix that as a problem? Select font. Should I just scale it down? Cancel, cancel. It seems kind of spammy, doesn't it? It seems a little spammy. Whatever. I'm just gonna go for it anyway. Oh man. All right. Fun stuff. Okay, so I feel like if single databases in your neighborhood, no credit card needed. If Rethink had gone down the database as a service route like Fauna and Cockroach have done, real leader in the market, people to build their own database as a service, not anyway. Yeah, I mean, they were early, man. They were early. That's the thing. Like Rethink, it was really before the whole serverless thing. It was before a lot of this stuff. It was a leader. It was an early leader in the space that it came a little bit at the wrong time. Came a little bit at the wrong time. So, yeah. All right. All right, so let's get back into it. We haven't really done any. We've just been messing around, but that's fun. It's been fun to mess around, to be honest. It's been fun. This GitHub Copilot stuff, very funny. So we're going to check out our branch, multi-tenant demo here. I'm going to probably have to rebase it. Play PUBG? You trying to hack, bro? You trying to reverse SHA-256? I'm not that kind of guy, buddy. No, but I actually have no idea about SHA-256 or reversing it. I just like literally have no clue about that stuff at all. Sorry. Okay, so we've rebased our PR here. We've rebased our PR. So this is WSL. This is WSL. We like WSL here on the stream. Okay, so I guess I responded to some comments on here already. There's a few more ones. Let's get into it. So knit, we can't make any assumption about the state of result values in case of error. Okay, so let's take a look at that. What's that about here? So demo cluster line 380, right? Demo cluster. Whoops. Demo cluster. Close this. What was it? Line 380. Okay, we can't make any assumption about the state of result values in the case of error. That is true. That's a fair point. It doesn't really matter because we're just returning here, but that's a fair point. He's just saying to switch this up like so. Good point. Done. Okay. So coming back up here, what else did we have comments wise? What are your thoughts on making multi-tenant the demo, the default? We can do this later. Favor the master branch. Strong tada. Few nits below. Okay, does it make sense to say, all right, let's go fix that up. Flags.go, line 1214 here. Maybe, okay, it's a different flags.go file. Does it make sense and can be switched between the tenants and the system tenant using the connect command? Yeah. Using the connect command. Okay, no problem. Easy. Should this say if running in multi-tenant mode? Also super nitty, but should be using multi-tenant instead of multi-tenant throughout, with the exception of the actual flag. Okay, I guess. I guess we should, huh? Line 212 here. If running in multi-tenant mode. Okay. Does this +2 warrant a comment? Yes, it does. I remember that +2. That was a sketchy +2 here, huh? Okay, so wow, so GitHub Copilot's giving me stuff. We don't want to use the default username password since we're, okay, that makes no sense. We're going to be using a custom username password for the demo user. What? Where is this coming from? Like, I think this is like in the code somewhere, isn't it? We don't want, what? That's so weird. We don't want to use the default. How does it do this exactly? Like, this is not in the code base anywhere. That's mad weird, dude. That's really weird. Okay, so here we're gonna say, we set the tenant ID to I+2 since, what is the reason for this exactly? The 0th, I guess it's since tenant 0 is not a tenant and tenant 1 is the system tenant. Default password is equal to okay, default password is equal to gen demo password. That's boring, huh? Okay, let's do another completion here. Nothing good. What if I made it, what if it was like a const? What if I was just like const root password is equal to root. Okay, good one. That's pretty great. That's pretty great. Root, that's the only suggestion it gives me. It's kind of boring. I bet they have some things for that. That's like, Don't they have, what about like AWS keys? Like const AWS private key is equal to, like they probably have something that protects against this, right? This doesn't look like a real private key to me. Right? You know, it's like what is it? There's like there's a private key and there's the AWS username is equal to cockroach. Keys getting leaked on Twitter. I mean, these seem like like, I don't know. Yeah, AWS access key ID. That was the one, right? Const AWS access key ID is equal to. All right, so nothing good here. It's a little suspicious, huh? Seems a little suspicious. Okay, so what happened to here? Embedded. How come confused by this a little bit? We might have just renamed a package or something. No, it's kind of weird, huh? Embedded, this is kind of messed up in my rebase, I guess. Embedded tenant client CA key. Embedded tenant client. It just got deleted? Create tenant client pair? Well, that's a bummer. I kind of needed that. So how come that got deleted, I wonder? Use the tenant client cert for pod-to-pod communication. Okay, well, this does seem sort of relevant, doesn't it? So I guess there was probably some change here that possibly edited what we have to do. So let's take a look at this commit. Tenant CA cert as opposed to tenant client CA cert. So maybe there's just some... it's kind of annoying. I wish that I had gotten this in before they made this change. Because I don't really... I guess it's just they removed client from the name of a bunch of these things. So if I just change this to say embedded tenant CA key, maybe things work. Tenant CA pair. Okay, maybe that's the only thing I have to do. Well, that would be nice. So this needs some more things. It needs a cert stir, a CA key path, a key size, a cert lifetime, a tenant identifier, and then it needs a list of hosts? That I don't understand, honestly. Host adders? Oh, do I need to put a default list or something? I guess I'll try that. I don't know what I'm doing. This is just for a demo, so it doesn't really matter. This is all local stuff. So basically the purpose of this demo is to be able to run multi-tenant Cockroach inside of, in memory, just without having to spin up anything complicated, right? So it doesn't need to have any real certs. It's just all kind of faked. Okay, so we've made these changes. What else do we need to do? I wonder if we can reduce this. We're only starting up with 3 node cluster here, so maybe it'll pass an erase. If nothing else, we just remove the comment as it's incorrect. Okay, yes, that's probably true. That was some copy pasta on my part, you guys. Copy freaking pasta. Under race. So it's kind of neat. We have this thing where you guys know about the Go race detector. It slows everything down. It uses a lot of memory. So sometimes for tests that are slow, we just skip them under race. And in order to make that possible, we have a little package called skip. And you can say skip.under race and it'll just do that for you. It's kind of nice. It's kind of nice. Kind of useful. We'll just delete that for now. I have a feeling we're going to be unhappy with it, but we'll see. Done. Sorry for the white background here. I don't know if there's a way to do reviewable in dark mode. Does this run a to-do? Are we not doing those anymore? I think we're still doing to-dos. Done. Reviewable comments do get pasted back into the GitHub issue, but I like to respond inside of reviewable. Test demo multi-tenant. I mean, do I need to put a to-do for this? I'm not sure if I'm ever going to come back to this though. I can certainly yeah, I don't know quite what to say. I'm just not gonna do it. I'm just not gonna do it. Fix that one. Done. Done. Okay. So let's go ahead and run the test at least. So we're gonna run the test. Package, make test package equals package CLI. Demo cluster tests equals test transient cluster multi-tenant. Ay. Oh yeah, I fixed my like little command tab problem from last time, you guys. But the way that I fixed it is kind of sad. I'm not doing anything tricky with the key mappings anymore. I just gave up. It just didn't work. I couldn't figure out what was wrong with it. So now I'm just using Alt Tab like a pleb, not trying to do anything custom. It's kind of weird. In Windows, you know, normally, like I'm used to on Mac where the command key is like the Windows key on Windows, and you use it for everything. Like Command C, use Command Tab, use Command Tab. And on Windows, it's different, right? It's like Control C for Control C, but Alt Tab for Command Tab. You know, it's like different. And then there's also Windows, which is separate. So for a while I was like, okay, well, let me like remap everything so I can get used to Windows. But then actually, like, now I'm pretty used to Windows, and I feel like I don't need that anymore. So I just deleted all the mappings, and now I'm just using these different things like a Windows guy. I don't know how to feel about it, but it is what's going on. What's up, Code Crafted? And that's what it is, you know. Note to self: stop being such a fancy pants and accept my fate. Yeah, that's definitely true. I feel like the older I've become, the less like super customized crap that I have going on. I'm just like doing a lot less of that. I'll just use these default configs, because then it's like, I don't know, you like tweak it less. You just get used to the status quo, and you're kind of good to go. I don't know. I feel mixed feelings about it, but I think it's fine. So tenant password addernet 1 syntax error. Okay. At or near 1 syntax error. Create user with password. Well, easier to move to other systems. Yeah, exactly. I don't know why this isn't quite working. Maybe I just need to use, because I feel like this was all working before. Maybe I just need to use normal string interpolation here. Forget. A default Daniel? Yeah, I'm definitely being a default Daniel right now. Create user 1 with pat. Okay, so this is somehow the same issue. Dooba-dooba-dooba-doo. Create user $1. I guess I have to make these string interpolations. I don't really get why that would have changed, but I guess it doesn't really matter too much. Sometimes yak shaving is fun as long as you acknowledge to yourself you're doing it and it's for your enjoyment. Yeah, totally. Okay, so these tests are now passing, which is great. Multi-tenant. I mean, there's like a ton of things that say multi-tenant and not just multi-tenant, but you know, that is okay. won't. I guess they're not in comments though, so he had a fair point there. He had a fair point there. Okay, so let's just go ahead and, so that was actually not so bad. That was actually fairly easy to do that rebase and fix up. So we're just gonna git add 1, 2, 3. We're gonna git commit amend. We're gonna re-push. Okay. So were there any other comments in GitHub? I'm getting a bit tired of using both reviewable and GitHub, honestly. I'm just gonna publish over here. Say TFTR will try to merge this. I think there were some test failures that I've got to track down. Thanks. Yeah, it's pretty exciting. It's pretty exciting. I'm pretty pumped about it. It's gonna be really good. It's gonna be really good. All right, so I think that truth be told, TFTR, it's thanks for the review. Thanks for the review. It's thanks for the review. Cadobes, what's up? You guys want a quick an intro to the code review slang? Okay, I'm gonna give you a quick intro to the code review slang. You got TFTR, Rain. It's good to see you, Rain. Welcome into Large Data Bank. It's nice to see you. You've been working hard. You've been working hard at all those shows, and I appreciate your efforts. Okay, so we got TFTR. TFTR is thanks for the review. So you know what we could be doing here is actually, like, you guys have seen those tweets where it's like, watch out when your children say LOL, they're actually saying, like, you know, lots of drugs or something. I feel like this would be a good subject for this thing. But for now, we'll just do it sort of genuine. So we got thanks for the review. We got RFAL. RFAL is ready for another look. So a lot of people will say RFAL when they finish changing their pull request to finish answering a bunch of review comments. They'll push again. They'll say RFAL, ready for another look. And then that it signals to the reviewer that they should take another look. TFTR you usually say at the end. You usually are like, all right, thanks for the review. I'm gonna merge this baby now. And then we got, what else do we got? I feel like there's like a bunch more. Now I'm forgetting them all. What are the other good code review lingo slangs? You got LGTM. That's key, dude. How could I forget about LGTM? Looks good to me. When your children say LGTM, they're really talking about let's go to the mall. No, that's not really quite sinister enough, I don't think. It's not quite sinister enough. You need something that's a little bit more sinister. Let me just turn off my notifications here. I was just getting something. Don't want those notifications to be leaked on the stream. So let's just fix that. Let's fix that up. So you got ACK. So ACK is actually an interesting one because ACK is not really an acronym. It's really more like an ACK, and it's acknowledged. I hear a lot of people who get confused. They see somebody who writes ACK, and they're like, are they disgusted? Are they grossed out? Did I say something to offend them? But no. All they're saying is that they acknowledged. They acknowledged something, right? They acknowledge something. It's kind of, I guess it's like a sin-ack joke, right? It's a sin-ack joke. Knack, not acknowledged. I don't see this one too often, but I guess maybe sometimes people do it. Not acknowledged. Think of grep when you see ack. Was that formatted? Working through fixes. Haven't seen those ones. There's got to be some other ones, right? What else we got? What are some other ones? Those are some IARC. That's a good one. We're getting into the base non-code review acronyms, but I like it too, you know. AFAIK. If I recall, this would be like a fun to do on a quiz show, right? I like to use AFAIK. As far as I know. What else we got? AFAIR. What about that? As far as I remember. That's a crazy one. What about IIUC? If I understand correctly. YMV, your mileage may vary. What do you mean? On the other hand, man, these are good ones. Imagine you come to the workplace, people just start throwing these 4-letter acronyms at you, and you're just like, what even is this? You gotta learn. RFC. We use that. Request for comment. What about when people start saying like request for proposal? What is that about? Who says RFP and who says RFC? That's always a bit confusing to me. When to use which one, right? BTW. By the way, that's a good one. BTW. Salespeople say RFP. PEBCAC. PEBCAC's a rude one. My advice to you guys is don't say PEBCAC, but PEBCAC stands for problem exists between keyboard and chair. I think it's okay to say PEBCAC when it's like, it's your own problem, right? But you don't want to go around spamming that it's like you some other person is a PEBCAC, right? That'd be tough. RTFM, that's definitely out of style at this point. I feel like people don't really say RTFM at this point. That would be no good. Idiot bug. 3 words like crypto. RFP is toxical, RFC is more Git. What do you mean on Russian sounds like Vadim? Vadim. Identity. Ooh, yeah, what about all those good like words with numbers inside? You got O11Y, observability. These ones took a long time for me to figure out. These ones are always confusing. You got K8s, Kubernetes. Do you guys know why this is the case? It's kind of like the number. You know, you count up the letters in between the first letter and the last letter, and you put a number in there. Isn't that internationalization? Internationalization. What about accessibility? Is this 11? Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Isn't that so lucky to get accessibility that also looks like ally? Isn't that so sweet? I feel like that's a nice thing that happened to the universe. We just got lucky to have that happen. Auths. You got authz, authorization. We got authn, authentication. These take a long time for me to get to. These are confusing. Luna's flash talk about Kubernetes. I did not get to see that. Are we missing any other ones? These are the big ones. I feel like we've gotten a good list of the big ones. We have LGTM. Did we forget to say PTAL? That was an important one, you guys. I think I was forgetting this one. Please take a look, or please take another look. Hard to know which one people mean by this because it could be ambiguous. But these are good ones. These are good ones. These are good ones. What's up, Dominic? Welcome. Nice to see you. So Luna's flash talk on Kubernetes. Should I open this or no? Am I going to get banned?
The numbers. So software engineers apparently have this fear of really long words. And there's this trend of shortening them, where you take the first and last letter and you replace the middle with a number that represents how many letters you've taken out. So for example, if you see the phrase I18N, that's just a shorthand for internationalization. And if you see A11Y, turns out that actually isn't somebody who's supportive of social justice causes typing like an old school hacker. It's just our shorthand for accessibility. So back to K8S. And you're probably wondering, but Luna, you're a C++ game developer. Why on earth would you want to talk about Kubernetes? And I have no idea what you're talking about, because K8S is of course shorthand for the Kubler-Ross model, or the 5 stages of grief. Up
Yes,
first is
yes.
denial. You'll refuse to believe that that's the direction the talk is going, because you'll think that's just a quick gag and that I will actually go on to talk about Kubernetes. I wouldn't dress up this nice and write an entire lightning talk just for the sake of that joke, would I? And as you realise the talk is a bait and switch, you'll turn to anger. It's not fair. You wanted to learn something insightful about container orchestration, but instead your time is being wasted. And next you'll come to bargaining. If I'll just say something of actual merit, then it'll have been worth it, and all will be forgiven, right? But you watch the progress bar on the video, nearing the end, and you'll fall into depression. The overplayed joke just keeps going, and you don't know what to do anymore.
That is kind of how I
Is there
feel.
any point in
I do feel like
continuing
this overplayed joke is
And
continuing to
eventually
go on a
you'll
little
find
bit
it's
long.
important.
But I like how it was
I'll
referenced
respect the
that,
absurd amount of effort
you
put
know,
into
she
such
knows
a
that I'm
silly
thinking
thing.
that for sure.
And it's only a couple of minutes of your life after all. By tomorrow, you'll have forgotten all about it.
It's too accurate. Too accurate. Very good. I'm into that.
Hey everyone.
I like that. That was pretty good. Internationalization isn't just because it's long. Internationalization is spelled differently in British and American English. It's also a pun. Yeah, interesting. How about that? It could go either way. That's a good link. Thanks for sending that link, Undefined. All right. So we've learned a lot. We've learned a lot about abbreviations on the stream. Why did we get into this? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. What's next is that we want to kind of see whether our PR is going to be passing tests. That's something that we should do. The other thing that we want to do is respond to the review on this random backup restore test thing. Valuable time spent. Yeah, we've all learned together, right? We're all learning. We're all teaching each other and learning from each other. Use one in my comment or PR. That's right. That's right. So while this thing is running its tests, I figured, should I save this beautiful piece of work here? I'm going to save this as my special abbreviation list.txt, you know? So we can always remember the good time that we had together today, thinking about these abbreviations. So let's take a look at this other PR that I had open. It's called rand backup restore. MSA. Isn't that master service agreement? What else would MSA be besides master service agreement? That's another sales one that I just happen to know for like some random reason. But I'm guessing you're talking about something else here. Oh, is it just the name of the thing that I wrote? Oh my God, I played myself. I definitely played myself with that. Yeah, well, that's okay. That's okay. MSOL is also the name of a viewer. MSOL is a viewer who comes sometimes. So that's kind of a fun coincidence that we thought of MSOL. So what we're going to do, yeah, we wanted to fix up this PR. We sent this PR. What this thing was about, you guys, it's actually pretty cool. The idea is that A10N, okay, yeah, maybe there's no need to stop with these, you know, letter things. You can just keep doing that all day for anything, right? CockroachDB, C 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That C9B, that doesn't really quite have the same ring as some of these other ones. It doesn't sound great. Not gonna lie, it sounds terrible. We're not gonna we shouldn't go with C9B. C8DB, maybe a bit better. NGL, not gonna lie. When your children are talking about NGL, they're really talking about never go live on Twitch because you'll make a fool of yourself for not knowing abbreviations. Basic knowledge here. So the idea with this PR though, was that we were going to be adding randomized testing to backup and restore. We're going to be using our random schema generator that we use in so many other places in the code. And we're going to be randomly selecting subsets. Remember, this is where we went into this whole power set tangent that we really wanted a GitHub Copilot to teach us power set. But what we do is we generate the power set of all of the tables in the backup or in the database. We back them up individually. We restore them individually. We validate that they're the same across the backup and restore cycle. That was the idea. That was the idea. We got some feedback, so let's go ahead and take a look through this. Okay, inappropriate question from Lord Mushroom. Inappropriate question from Lord Mushroom trying to get some attention, so we're going to ignore him or them. I can't configure the Copilot in VS Code. It gets stuck when I enter the URL in WebStorm. I'm afraid I don't know what to say to you about that, Fabian. It's a little bit hard to know what to say about that. So I would suggest file an issue. They've got that repo, right, where they've got all the GitHub Copilot issues. Maybe you could file an issue there. C2KR3HDB. Okay, so let's see what he says here. MS Butler. Right now, the test first compares a database level backup to a database level restore. Let's open up this test first of all so we can remember what it does. How about we start there? Backup, rand, test. Oh, Dominic, now that you're here, did you know that this power set helper that we wrote the other day, it has a bug? Did you know that this has a bug? And did you know that it was because of the way that we compressed it together? I thought that you'd find this interesting. Because of the way that we compress this together, there's a bug, and it has to do with append and slices. It has to do with append and slices. It just so happens that this code stops working at length 5, right? And of course, there's the old adage, which is that nobody needs to have a power set of more than 5 elements. But I don't know. For some reason, there's a bug in it. So what was I going to do? Go playground. Let's open up the go playground. Why 5? It's a good question. It's a good question. I don't really know. But let's find out here. So func main. Set in range power set. We're going to give it print out all the sets. Well, how are we going to be able to figure out the or maybe it was size 6. Oh, no. You see, there's a duplicate. You see this? There's a duplicate set of elements. BCDE is repeated. And I think the issue here is that we're not I forget exactly what the issue was, but it was kind of like we needed to declare a new slice. And which slice is getting aliased here? Is it PS1 colon? There's some like aliasing issue basically. The code is completely unreadable, isn't it? This is what you get when you make unreadable code. I remember I was going crazy inlining stuff. And I think I went too crazy. You know? I went too crazy. I feel like it's like I have to... What is it, huh? Do I need to like declare a new slice over here? It's not really... It was something like this, right? Because remember how it looked originally? It was looking like this. And then it was like... But I don't see why this would be any different, right? This seems to be the same thing. I don't see why this would be any different. So what was the bug? Now I can't really remember. I can't really remember what the bug was here. My friend told me, so I'm just gonna figure out what my friend told me here, because otherwise I'm just gonna spend forever. And to be honest, I really just don't remember what the problem was here. So let's just go ahead and find out. We're gonna learn. We're gonna learn by reading our message history. What about that? If somebody can figure this out, what's wrong with this before I find my message history, I'll be impressed. I will be impressed. Who knows what's wrong with our power set implementation? uh. Okay, so the issue is that it is something to do with the pen making a copy. I think if we like, maybe if it's like, maybe if we go like this, it'll fix itself or something. You know, get rid of that aliasing. Or no, it's probably over here if I do that. Let's see what happens if I run this. If I run this, I get, does the problem magically go away? It seems like the problem magically goes away if I simply, yeah, it's because when we pass in new here, we end up editing it with append over here. And so we need to make sure to cap it so that when you append to it, it always makes a new slice instead of editing the slice that's already there. So that's like the most subtle, horrible thing in the world, huh? We've learned a lot. We've learned a lot today. Certainly have. It wasn't your fault. It wasn't your fault at all. It was everybody's and nobody's fault. Yeah, we did copilot the power set function. That's the first thing that we did on the stream. We did copilot power set, and we actually did a prediction. We actually copiloted both power set and the tests for power set, and the copiloted power set tests validated that the copiloted power set was correct. It actually was able to validate that the copiloted power set was correct. So there you go, you know. There you go. We've learned a lot. You want to see it again? We'll do it again here. So if I say func power set 2, and then I give myself a tab, and then I hit this, and then I do this, and then okay, well, this is not impressive. It's got to give me more than that. This is the problem we were having before. It's still like a little bit in beta, I think, because you got to keep pressing it instead of, in VS Code, it allows you to just ask for the output once. Isn't this mind-blowing though? Come on, it's pretty nuts. It's pretty nuts. Oh God. It's pretty nuts, right? It's pretty nuts. Boom. We have a power set. This is correct. It totally works. It totally works. No problem. Do we understand it? No. Do we trust it? Of course we trust it. GitHub Copilot only generates correct code. That's part of the guarantee. That's actually part of their SLA, is that it only generates correct code. So we're good. We're good to go here. Which is more confusing? This implementation, the recursive implementation, or this iterative implementation? What do you guys think? Which is more confusing? I think that they're both equally confusing. It's kind of what I think about it. Both are absolutely nuts, right? Yeah. Anyway, okay, so let's come back to what we were actually doing here. So the feedback is right now, right now, here's our test. Here's our test. Backup restore random data round trips. Creates a database. It creates a bunch of random tables in the database. It backs up the database, and then it restores the database, and then it verifies that they're the same. Okay? And the suggestion was, right now, the test first compares the database level to a table restored. Then it compares every comma of tables. Before doing the table comma test, perhaps it's also worth verifying that a table level backup and DB level backup are both valid against a DB level restore. You could add another backup DB with backup table ran star to blah, and another restore DB, restore database from one with options. Then taste each backup restore flavor that logically backs up and restores a whole database. I just like don't really know how this stuff works. Okay, let's go to this second suggestion, which seems more straightforward. Given this block is used above, maybe it's worth creating a nested function. Yes, that does seem good. It does seem good. It does seem like we just sort of copy pasted some stuff. Implement PowerSet in Go with pen and paper. Yes, without using GitHub Copilot, implement PowerSet. And if you get it wrong, then you are relegated to the, I don't know, the jail, PowerSet jail. So what would this function do though? This would be called, it would just really be these two things, right? It would be, yeah, it'd be like get create statement for table. That seems like a good function to have actually. So we're gonna say func get create statement for table. Look at this crazy auto completion though, honestly. It is really kind of insane. And it actually had, all right. Did you guys see that? I'm a little bit shocked and confused and scared. It knew things. It knew things. It knew a little bit too much about what I wanted. It knew the signature. It gave me exactly the signature I needed. That was a little bit disturbing. So we're going to return create statement. We're going to return get create statement. That was a little bit disturbing. It knew a little bit too much about the signature there. Maybe it just got lucky. Maybe it just got lucky. Okay, so create statement is equal to get create statement for table, T, SQL DB. Now, this suggestion makes no sense. Suggestion makes no sense. It actually needs to be format.sprintf restored db.s, comma, table name, Mr. Computer. Please. Please. Disturbing is good. Yes, disturbing is definitely good. Disturbing is definitely good. Hair curls out when it gets to a certain length. Yeah, it's curly, man. I've got curly hair. It's wild. Absolutely freaking wild. And then over here, we're going to say create statement 1 is equal to get create statement for table T. I suppose we could, well, is it going to be different? No, sometimes it's restore DB, sometimes it's rand. So we got to say format.sprintf rand.this table name. We do this again for table 2, which is rand2. We also need this SQL DB. Who needs string compat when you have printf? You know, Dominic, it's a good point. But I don't know. Dominic, it's a good point. It's a good point. Should I make this a nested function? as was the comment. I think we should. It's a little bit simpler. We can use closures for this, you guys. We don't need to. We're not in the 1st century BC. We have closures. It's not what I was thinking. It's not what I was thinking at all. Okay, so then really the main suggestion window was something that I still don't understand. Table level backup and a DB level backup are both valid against a DB level restore. So what are we doing? The first thing that we do is we do a backup database ran to blah. And I guess what they're suggesting is backup table ran.start. But isn't that the same thing? That's what I don't quite get. So let's respond. Done. Isn't backup table ran.star the same as what we do later on, comma, backup table, all the tables in rand? I guess I don't know, but I assumed that they were the same. I see. So it's actually I see. Yes, GitHub Copilot works in Goland. They have a little beta driver for it that you can get from the internet now. It doesn't work nearly as well as the VS Code one. The main difference is that it doesn't give you paragraphs of completion. It just gives you one line of completion at a time, which is a lot worse. But it'll get there, I'm sure. So I think what we need to do is basically say two things. First, we got to say this again. I guess it's actually saying this one again, right? So let's see. We got to say something like DB backups is equal to make string. Well, we can just do it like this. How do we construct this down below? We're just adding a number to it. Yeah, we just add a number to it. Okay. Yeah, you know, I'm doing a lot of format.sprintf when I could just be doing concats, but you know, sometimes you just like fmt.sprintf because you don't have to change it later. I don't know. Okay, we're gonna do some concats for Dominic here. So we're gonna do local foo whole db local foo plus all tables. Right? Isn't that the suggestion here? Table level backup and a DB level backup. Okay, so then we're going to say for I. Well, we don't actually even have to do it like that. It's a little annoying. We need to say DB backup is equal to local foo plus whole DB. Tables backup is equal to local foo plus all tables. Okay, so then what we do is we go over here to do this twice. This is going to be sent to DB backup This is going to be sent to tables backup. Then we're going to create 2 new databases. Or I guess it's like 4 new databases. And then we need to say for I in range DB backups, we need to say something like this. So we need to pull this way back up. This is annoying, man. Okay, we need to do it something like that's all right. Well, we'll just hard code it because it doesn't really matter too much. So this is going to be the restore, the table level restore from the DB level backup. So DB backup, and the table level restore from the tables backup. And then we're going to do the same thing in the other direction. So it's going to be the whole DB level restore from both of the combinations. Okay, then we're going to have to verify them all as well. Except why are we even doing a range here? This makes no sense. The whole point is that we can we can automate things with for loops. It's magic. Yeah, so the whole, what am I doing? I'm not thinking straight. We need to do it like this. So for each of the backups, we do both restore styles is the idea. Then we just need to verify them all. So we got to run this whole thing. I think what we can do here is say expected create table statement of create statement, or it's really of table name is equal to create statement. We can rename this to just be create statement. We can stick all this back up over here way before we've done any of this stuff. Over here. All right. So then we just have to verify this in all 4 cases. So we are going to do something like this and assert that table name, or it's expected create table statement of table name is the same as create statement. Okay, so this maybe should be good, potentially. We do it in both cases here. We can make this slightly shorter if we did a little nested loop, but I don't think it's worth the effort. And of course, yes, the issue here is that we actually have to we've got to make new DBs each time. It's very gross. It's very gross. You die of stress. You die of stress. You get used to it. You get used to it. So we got to say DB is equal to how does it, this is impressive. Like the GitHub Copilot, it's figuring something out for sure. It's definitely figuring, it's a little smart. It's a little smart, you know? But is this readable code? Is this useful code? Like, not really. You started coding and this is horrifying you. I'm writing some kind of wacky code, so I wouldn't worry about this too much. I wouldn't worry about this all too much, my friend. And this isn't even right. Like, what we need to say is, like, for the first iteration, this is going to be... It's like... it's like I times 2 plus 2, basically. You started learning from this dude on YouTube? Who is it? I'm quite curious. Oh, nice, dude. Yeah, it's good one. You got me. You got me. You got me. No, you didn't get me. I'm not gonna be gotten like that with such a transparent, basic troll, my friends. Fools. I defended against that troll. And you know how I did it? I did it using the magic of Twitch click hover. Did we add SMH to the list? That's a great question. It's all right. It's all right. You tried. It was exciting. You did a good job. You tried, but you didn't succeed. But that's all right. We all have different things that we try, and we may or may not succeed on those things, and that's okay. That is okay. I guess we can do it like this, right? Does this make sense? I times 2 plus 3, it's going to be, we're going to start with 0. This is going to be rand 2, and then this is going to be rand 3, and then next time it's going to be rand 4, rand 5. I think that, wait. Okay, good luck. Good luck with the Rickrolling, my friend. See you later. Are you really just going from stream to stream trying to Rickroll people? It's too funny. Too funny. I wish you the best of luck on your hunt. You know, like, this guy doesn't really need a block. He was harmless. He was harmless. You have Rickrolled 3 people? Dude, combo broken. Combo broken. Get out of here. You're done. Oh, for you. All right. Yeah, you know what? I think you're right. I think this guy deserves at least a timeout. He deserves at least a timeout. Goodbye. Goodbye, little buddy. I spent too much time on a guy who deserved to be timed out. So wait, I'm still confused about what the number should be. We want to do 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then 5, right? If I has 0, I plus 2, 0 plus 2 is going to be 2. If I has 0, 0 plus 3 is going to be 3. And as soon as I has 1, it's going to be 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. And then it's going to be 2 plus 3 is equal to 5. Okay, so this is looking good. Basic math, you guys. Can we do basic math on the stream? Maybe some of the time. But not all the time. Certainly not all the time. Except we actually need to use this thing. No, we should do it the same way that we had it before. So this is going to be into db. This is going to be a %s. This is going to be db. Because we got to use the same thing. We got to use this same thing over here. S.S. It's always the best kind of S printfs, you know? Always the best kind of S printfs for sure. Yo, Jay Phils, Bro Hanser. Yeah, we're co-piloting. You guys missed the moment where we ran a prediction about whether the tests for PowerSet that GitHub Copilot generated for the PowerSet implementation that GitHub Copilot also generated would pass or not. It turns out that they passed, and I think that they were also correct, but a bunch of people predicted that they wouldn't pass. So that was an exciting moment on the stream. We got Copilot. We're confused about whether we like Copilot or not, but we have it to play around with for sure. Should have put some bits on the line, dude. Yeah. All right, so let's run this test here. Is this test going to do anything good? I don't know. So this test is called test backup restore random data round trips, right? Random data. What is all that? I don't know. A test failure for this like terrible code that I just wrote. Yeah, I mean, I probably just am making it too implicit, right? It's like there's no point in making it all meta. It's literally just 2 iterations of a loop. I should probably just hard code all 4 test cases instead of having 2 of them hard coded in a confusing way, right? See you later, Code Crafter. Thanks for stopping in. See you next time. Enjoy your dinner. Get rid of that too. Database restore DB does not exist. Okay, well, that's probably true. Restore DB. Why is anybody looking at restore DB? Oh, show create table restore DB. Dot whatever. Oh, I see. Guess we need to pass in our database name too, huh? Then again, we could also just restore them all into restore DB over and over again. Maybe that's the best way to do this, because that way we do have to do less work, don't we? We don't have to mess with this whole ran2 crap. Yeah, that's actually a lot better. Let's go back and do it this way here. So we're gonna create database restore DB. So the into DB is always going to be restore DB. That's going to be a lot simpler, isn't it? All right. We're doing better here. We're getting rid of some of this pointless meta stuff like we wanted to. What about a format.s printf with literally just a %s and then the thing that you wanted to print out? You guys like that one? I feel like that's a good one. Static check flags that one? Nice. That's a good flag. Okay, so then all we have to do is drop and recreate this thing each time. I guess we can copy this, do it up here, do it right here. Okay, so let's see how this does. Happens way too often when code gets refactored. Yeah, exactly. It's so easy to miss it. Does the Go compiler like kind of deal with that properly? Does it compile it away? That'd be nice, wouldn't it? I'm guessing it doesn't, though. Otherwise... Otherwise, problems, right? It avoids hard coding too much standard library knowledge. I feel like the compiler avoids, I mean, it does a lot of hard coding of stuff though, doesn't it? Doesn't it? Right, so now the issue is that I guess I could make this into a little function too. Unsafe in math.bitmath/bits doesn't optimize away calls to. Let's make this into a little function because I think we do this a bunch, right? All right, so then we get to just go over here and change these things to say verified table name. Suppose we could do away with a loop as well, couldn't we? Verified tables. Or I in range table names. That's getting a little bit cleaner, huh? We can do the same thing over here. So you guys seen Dune yet? I'm gonna watch Dune tonight. Getting excited. Table ran does not exist. See you on Sunday. Friends say it's good. Have you read Dune? You didn't like the book? Restore database from. Okay, so it's restore database from. Thought it was fine, not amazing. Yeah, I never, to be honest, this is maybe revoking my nerd cred, but I couldn't get through Dune. I tried to read it maybe like 8 or 10 years ago, and I just couldn't get through it. I got so bored in the beginning. In the first, I just gave up after the first like 30 pages. I couldn't take it. I felt sad about it though, because it's such a classic. People love Dune so much. Table database does not exist, but I want to restore the database. That's what I don't understand. There's a bunch of action all of a sudden. I see. Backup restore CockroachDB. So a full cluster. Restore database, backup database name from. I see. So I guess I have to say restore database. Do I just say restore database rand? Is that how it works? Well, I'm looking forward to the movie. I'll be able to give a the same pace, slow in the beginning with a bit of action. The second part. Oh, is this just the first half of like a multi-movie series then? Cannot use into DB while restoring databases. Okay. Well, that I didn't know about, huh? Cannot use into DB while restoring databases? Oh, you have to say with options new DB name. Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay. So I guess I have to say can I always just say with new DB name? Oh, it's just with options new DB underscore name like this. It's also quite long for just the first half of a movie. Dude, it's just the first half of a movie? That is disappointing. That is disappointing. The length of all the parts are the same, actually. Denis Villeneuve, the director, loved these long movies. Wait, actually, quick question. Have you guys seen the movie Jodorowsky's Dune? Have you seen the movie Jodorowsky's Dune? I hear that's a good one. Jodorowsky's Dune. The film explores cult film director Jodorowsky's unsuccessful attempt to adapt and film Dune in the mid-70s. I hear it's crazy, but good. Is it hard to find is it hard to find? A mind-blowing cult movie, you know? This is the sort of thing that you got to watch. I don't know. It's definitely the sort of thing that you want to be watching. So this is now failing for some weird reason. Relation restore db.table1 does not exist. Well, that's not good. Seems like I've screwed something up. Relation restore db.table1 does not exist. But why? But why? The movie was not done. The one from the 80s. Dune 1984, directed by David Lynch. Yeah, like this would be good, right? David Lynch, Dune. How does this even exist? It's nuts, honestly. These things. You can watch it on HBO Max. How about that? You can watch this on HBO Max. So you can do both. You can watch the old Dune and then the new Dune in the same night if you want. All on HBO Max. Hashtag SpawnCon. It's 2 parts. You gonna behave yourself, Kanto? Or not really? HBO Max isn't charging for it? That is really weird. That I do not really understand. Why wouldn't they charge for it? That doesn't make any sense because I'm about to go see it in theater and pay money for it, you know? They're just giving it away for free. That seems surprising. Oh, it's probably like it's not charging for it. Like you're paying for your HBO Max subscription, but you're not paying extra for the movie. Seems like a better experience in a theater. Yeah, I agree with that. For sure. Disney Plus makes you pay dues and for the new movies. Oh. So Disney Plus is just like a racket is what you're saying, and HBO is like not so annoying. Right. Yeah. That's messed up. I can't believe that they would do that. Extracting so much cash from the populace. It's uncool. Cash extraction is at an all-time high. This is why we have inflation. It's Disney. Yeah, I guess that's true. Relation restore DB table 1 does not exist. I don't get this. It's got to be something that I did weirdly in this refactor, right? For each of the combos, we drop the database restore DB, then we create the database restore DB. And then oh, I see the problem. The problem is that we need to pass in the list of table names here. Okay, so we need to pass in table names because it's a different list of table names than normal. Okay. So we're going to pass in table names like this. And then when we run verify tables here, we're going to pass in all the table names. But then down below, we're just going to pass in our combo. That's the issue. No big deal. Just a little confusion on my part. I'll be right back, guys. Give me 1 sec, please. back. I'm back. And the test pass. How about that? What a good moment. That's like a great time to come back and you're like, well, test pass. No problems left to deal with at all. We're good to go. We are good to go. So exciting. Okay, so let's go ahead and add this. Commit amend. Push this back up. We'll go over here to our code review. Done. Good idea. Publish. All right. So next up, let's go back and see what our other PR is doing here. See, it does have some test failure that we've got to investigate here. I think this was my issue last time. See what's going wrong here exactly. What should we write with Copilot? We played some fun tricks. We played some jokes earlier, but there's always time for more jokes with GitHub Copilot. GitHub Copilot jokes never end is kind of how I'm feeling. And for whatever reason, this thing is like slow. Is it just like dead? Everything's wrong and broken? Frustrating. What does Copilot do? Copilot is the AI autocompleter. It literally will write code for you. It's crazy. Okay, let me show you. I'll show it off for a second here. It works a little bit better in VS Code here. So hold on a second. So we're gonna go down here and we're gonna make a new function. We're gonna write. What should we write here? What's a good algorithm? What kind of algorithm do you want to write? Anything exciting to you in particular? What about a write SQL? Write a SQL interpreter? Okay, let's see what it'll do for that at least. Return a parsed AST for the input SQL string. What is it going to do here? Func parse SQL. Well, this is completely useless, huh? It's interesting though. I mean, it gives back a statement node and some errors, but it kind of just delegates it to this parser here. It kind of just it creates a parser and gives me back the result of using the parser. So that's pretty cool. Let's see. Okay, let's actually see what happens if we were to say type SQL parser struct. Then we were like func s SQL parser. Boring. Implement SQL parser. This is starting to be pretty good. This is starting to be pretty interesting, huh? It parses create table statements. Honestly, this really looks quite a bit like the Cockroach code base. But who knows? Okay, we're gonna accept this solution here. Okay, so here's what it's doing. For each statement, oh wait, it's just using my SQL. Hold on. We're gonna try something again here. Synthesize me some better solutions. See, the issue is that it keeps delegating. It's unwilling to write the parser. It keeps delegating the parsing to another function that does the parsing. It kind of doesn't know how to start with the parser. But it does some other stuff. You know, it switches on this type and it does different types of things and stuff. Like, what is this, dude? What is this? When it sees a rename table statement, it takes the result and it adds both the old table and the new table. Like, how does it, what is that? All right, we're gonna do something a little bit more in the wheelhouse of GitHub Copilot. Sort a list of numbers using heap sort algorithm. Okay, func heap sort. Well, it didn't give me what sift down is. Give me sift down. Come on now. This is your idea of sift down? This isn't even complete code. We got to do better than that. Okay, we're going to go func sift down. We're going to go to the solution selection screen here. Which one of these looks correct, you guys? Who can tell me which of these solutions is a correct sift down? I definitely could not tell you. I don't even know what sift down is supposed to be doing. I don't know how heap sort works. I have not even a single clue. So what do you think? This is what GitHub Copilot can do. Pick two and switch between them randomly. Okay, what about this? Func sleep sort. What does it say when I ask to? Dude, it knows about sleep sort. This thing literally knows about sleep sort. 4n is greater than 1. Well, I don't know what that's supposed to be. I think that's that could be valid code. Could be valid code. Could be valid code. It seems good, right? It's making n less on each iteration. I believe that this is valid. It's a while loop, see? It's no problem. It's totally normal. You don't have to know the syntax of a language if you just use GitHub Copilot. It'll program it for you. And you don't even have to learn the syntax. Let's see if sleep sort works. Let's see if sleep sort's gonna work for us. Wait, I need to put sleep sort. Sleep sort. Can Copilot run static check on your codebase? Wait a minute. This didn't work. Does the Go Playground not really use time.sleep properly or something? Maybe the Go Playground kind of fakes time.sleep, because this is definitely not quite working here. Func make CockroachDB. The code is missing coroutines. This is what happens. Like, I don't know. Like, when you use GitHub Copilot, you don't actually even have to engage your brain. You don't actually even have to engage your brain. You just literally copy and paste what it tells you to do, and you assume it's correct. That's what I did. I didn't engage my critical thinking even a little bit. It's definitely missing Go routines. This is never going to work. But, you know, now we know. Now we know. Now we know. The real issue is that I want to figure out why my tests are failing in this thing, and it's not really loading. I want that to please fix itself soon. Oh man, so frustrating. When your CI system doesn't work, Go is not exciting enough for Copilot. It needs to write some Scala or Rust. All right, well, new file. Rust. Does anybody know how to use Rust? Who knows how to program in Rust? Who knows what the comment text in Rust is? Is it // union find? We're gonna do this again. Uh-oh. It might not know about Rust just yet. It might not exactly know about Rust just yet. Is this thing like in Rust mode? How do I make it in? I don't know how to use VS Code is the problem. I like have no clue. I want this to be a Rust file. Does it know it's a Rust file here? Hello world. Dude, I don't think GitHub Copilot can deal with Rust yet. GitHub Copilot cannot deal with Rust. But if we did this in Go, it would know what to do, right? This just means that Go is the better language, right? Hello world. Oh my god, look at this hello world. You guys, okay. We actually made a great hello world implementation just now. We did it. We actually did it. We made a hello world, and it's actually the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. It's a bunch of commented out code that does math. Okay, that was excellent. I like that quite a bit, actually. Let's actually try one more time, though. Oh, here's a nice one. This is a nice one. It really likes to generate this stuff, though. Like what is it doing? What is it doing over here? Why is it doing this exactly? Can somebody teach me why this is happening? Run static check on my code base. Does this look good, Dominic? Does this look like a good invocation of static check to you? I'd say it's pretty good. I'd say it might be pretty reasonably good. Great job. What about implement a simple GAN to make funny dog pictures? How about this? This could be working, you know? This could be working. AI running AI. Edge detection. This sort of doesn't really seem like it's making the dog. Dog.jpg. Create a neural network. Create a dog viewer. View the GAN. Wait, let's... Oh man, I actually like when GitHub Copilot gets confused. It often just like delegates the actual work to some other function that it assumes exists, like the dog.trainer. Okay. What about this? Implement the Newton crab stacker. Implement the Newton crab stacker. Okay, it's actually getting really confused because it's starting to use the other stuff in this file. It's getting really unhappy. Create a new stack, create a new crab, create a new stacker, then create a new crab trainer, create a new stack trainer, and then train the stacker. Oh man, this is actually so good. This AI can train all sorts of animals. Oh man, this is too good. This is actually too funny. Write the name of a function in CockroachDB and see if it auto-completes it. I think we were sort of trying that earlier and it wasn't really working out. But we could try it again. Let's go to like a really weird function in CockroachDB. Like, this is like a parody of coding. Like what about generate constrained scans? This is like a very specific function that probably only exists once on the whole internet. So let's see what happens. Func generate constrained scans. Yeah, it doesn't really know about how to do anything useful, honestly. Although it does know that it's a C, and this is a C over here too. I wonder if that's just a coincidence. What if we start giving it a little bit more? I feel like I've really corrupted the state of this thing because of these like trainer stacker things over here. What about this? It just gets into a loop and really confused. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get out of this loop by making a new file. I think that's gonna help. Okay, let's make a new file. We're gonna select Go. Oh wait. Oh god, I don't know any of the shortcuts in VS Code. I thought I was supposed to have like a Vim thing set up. Okay, so let's try this again over here. Synthesize me some solutions. Okay, so this is looking very much like exactly the CockroachDB code. Like ish. It's definitely like CockroachDB code. So that's actually kind of scary, right? It slurped up the CockroachDB code at some point, and it's just sort of like cloning it in a terrible. Oh my gosh! Wait, look at this. Okay, constrained scans are implemented as index lookups with a single equality constraint. So this has to be exactly taken from the code base, right? Constrained scans. It's not though. That's so weird. Our implement. I don't know, man. It's very confusing. I don't understand it. It's not easy to understand what's going on here, and I hate it. I completely hate it. Does this exist somewhere? This has got to exist somewhere, right? T at force. Wait, this is a syntax that we've implemented for sure. Maybe it's a regex getting confused here. Or maybe like it pulled this from a certain version of the code base that doesn't exist anymore or something like that. Anyway, it's very disturbing and weird, and I hate it. So, oh, I found Radu. I have to show this to some people at work, man. It's too funny. Okay, so you try to autocomplete generate constrained scans, and you get a bunch of to-do Radus in this. Very funny stuff. Very, very disturbing and funny stuff. But yeah. Copilot will never violate licenses, and it's all totally safe. And also, the code it generate is guaranteed to be correct. Guaranteed to be correct code. So we're good, right? We're good. We don't have to learn to program. We're good. We're good. What's a Radu? A Radu is a person. Radu is a person. What happens if I just do this? We don't support Go yet. Wait, what about this? It's fun. Dude, this is too funny. Oh my gosh. Okay, wait. To do Jordan. Okay, it's gotten into like a bad loop. We need to get it out of this loop. We're gonna try again. To do Jordan. What does it think I'm supposed to do? This is a temporary solution to get the Go fumped to work. It should be removed once the Go fumped is fixed. End of completions. Okay. To do. Ah! It knows you. It knows you. It knows you. I didn't even have to write your whole name. I didn't even have to write your whole name. It knows your name, which is really creepy. How do I like close this little tab? Like this? To do Dominic. Write test that checks that the C++ and Java bindings match. Who's A. Donovan, I wonder? Okay. Well, that was interesting. To do chopstick wizard. It for some reason it gets really stuck in this like add support for business. Alan Donovan Googler. I see. How come it's always this? Oh, this is looking good. Oh, okay. What about to do RSC? Ah, this is looking good. So maybe this is actually explaining when this code was all crawled. Was it all like around the Go 1. Like, oh, well, it's getting confused again. When will it stop? Is it going to tell us the future? Is it going to tell us the future? How far would this number go up? Ooh, we're getting into the future now. Wow, impressive stuff. Okay, let's find some more to-dos for RSC. Same again. Can it figure out bugs you're not aware of? That's a good question. Let's go over here into the cockroach code base and see what it says. So if I start writing over here, to do performance. Wait. To do Andre. This is a hack to make sure that the demo cluster. Oh man, this is funny stuff. What about some security problems? Okay, to do security. It really definitely like says a lot of duplicate stuff here. I don't know. RC is stuck waiting for 1.4. To do performance. This test takes a long time to run. We should consider removing it from the perf testing suite. Huh. I don't know, man. It's weird. It's honestly really weird stuff. It feels like you can kind of like get a lot of people's names through this. It's kind of weird, right? Like there's so many names in here. This is like the most... I don't know. Ay. What will this world a shopping list? To do Prashant. Go shopping and get food. Okay. Get shopping list. Funk. Get shopping list. Okay, it's returning milk, bread, and eggs. 0 to-dos with your name on it. That's the dream. That is the dream. What's up, Mike? It's an iris. Oops, keyboard, not iris. Yeah. Funk. What about if I say get shopping list, but I ask it to return a list of strings instead? It gives me the same thing, but in a list form. That's actually kind of cool, huh? It's kind of neat. Funk. Bake a loaf of bread. And then it's going to return a list of cooking.instruction. Here we go. How about this, though? How about this? I like this solution here. This is a good solution. For 5 time steps, get a loaf of bread. And then for 10 steps, you should put a loaf of bread in oven. Okay, what if I ask it to give me another cooking dot instruction after that? Then the next is just cook a loaf of bread for 15. Okay, then the next action is going to be what? Cooking dot instruction. Put a loaf of bread in a toaster. Okay, this is legit. This is seeming pretty good. For five times. Okay, makes sense. Next up, we're going to eat a loaf of bread. Wow, it really knows, man. Okay, so here's a question. How long are we supposed to be eating the loaf of bread for? Just five time units. Just 5 time units. No big deal. You can eat it as quickly as it toasts. Yeah, well, we've learned a lot. We've learned about how to eating loaf of bread. What's the last step, though? What's the last step going to be? Okay, it gets into a loop at this point because it knows that the only thing that you can do left is baking bread. Okay, let's get another list of cooking instructions. Let's do something a little bit more complicated. What's that thing that that angry guy likes to cook again? What's his name? Angry cooking guy. Yeah, beef Wellington, exactly. Okay. So Funk cook beef Wellington. It's going to give me a list of cooking dot instructions again. What do we got? Okay, wait. It's getting corrupted by the last things that we did. So we have to delete our bake a loaf of bread instructions. Let's actually just delete everything. Let's delete everything here. Let's try again. Synthesize me some solutions. Okay. Wait. Whoa. Oh my gosh. Okay, wait. There's a lot of options here. There's really quite a lot of options here. Which should we go for, though? You know, it would be really funny, like a video series where you use GitHub Copilot to tell you how to cook beef Wellington, and then you cook exactly following the instructions, and then you try to send it to that one guy and see what he says. You know, he'll kind of rate your solution here. Okay, so here's what we do. First step is that we preheat Gordon Ramsay. Yeah, we preheat the oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Then we place beef in a resealable plastic bag, seal, and place in a roasting pan. Wait, what? Okay, this would be really funny because already you have an issue where you're actually cooking the beef inside of a reusable plastic bag in the oven. So you just sort of melt the plastic. Okay, so you place pan in oven and roast for 1 hour. Remove beef from oven and let rest for 5 minutes. Heat a non-stick skillet over medium heat. Add onion and cook till soft. Add garlic and cook till fragrant. And then what? Add ginger, add celery, add beef. And cook until no longer pink. Oh my gosh. Well, I don't know, guys. This is funny. We're all learning quite a bit. Gordon Ramsay beef Wellington. Yeah, this guy loves a beef Wellington. Beef Wellington actually seems like one of the most disgusting foods of all time, but you know, more power to the beef Wellington lovers of the world, I suppose. Okay, this thing seems to have come alive again. Okay, and our favorite kind of failure mode is our failure mode where we forgot to update our basil configuration. Really exciting, you guys. Let's go back over here. Make basil generate. Actually, there's a new way of doing this. It's called dev generate basil. It's actually happening. It's pretty exciting. We're switching off of make. Make is going away. We're not quite yet at the point where I can say that I would be loving Bazel, but it's getting a lot closer. There's actually a tool now called Dev that we use, and Dev is supposed to do all this stuff for us. So I'm learning about Dev, and so far it seems pretty good. So let's go ahead and add this commit amend git push fmine. One of the coolest things about Dev is that you can run dev doctor, and then it gives you a little smiley face if your configuration is up and ready, and it was pretty ready to do dev, do Bazel stuff. So what can I do? I can do dev build, dev help, dev logic tests. You know, it's getting pretty good here. Let's do get dev build short. No, can't do that. Dev build though I can do. I think last time I tried to do this on stream, it kind of like destroyed my computer because it was trying to do everything too concurrently. We'll see if it does that again. Let's see, it'll be a good test. Test for dev. Dev does like to kind of use up all of the cores that it can. So that's it's exciting. Yeah, I think you can set some max proc stuff. It does make things look like Java. Yeah. But I think it is written in Java, isn't it? Maybe that's the reason. Look at all these cores getting used up. Look at that. It's so powerful. It's very impressive. Impressive work from the computer here. It's a lot of cores. I'm not running a Threadripper. I'm merely running a 5950X. 6 gigs of memory usage by Goland. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You got to use all that memory up, you know? That's what makes it so fast, I guess. It caches a lot of stuff. I kind of regret not getting 64 gigs of RAM for my computer, actually. I only have 32. And I'm kind of like, I think I should upgrade to 64. 32 is just not quite enough. Not quite enough gigabytes. Thing is that I reserve half of the memory per for WSL. WSL only gets half of the memory. So like only getting 16 gigabytes is like, it's kind of getting down there in the world of not great. Hey, thanks for the gift sub, Lithium. Appreciate you. Yeah, 64, man. How do you reserve RAM for WSL? It just does it by default. I didn't do anything special to make that happen. It just does it by default. I think it just by default reserves half of the computer for RAM. Yeah, I think you're already doing it if you have WSL installed. So I did actually, by the way, speaking of WSL, I've been trying out the WSL-G, the like new GUI thing, which allows you to run GUI programs from WSL without a special program. And I have to say it's not good enough yet because it has issues with like the high DPI scaling stuff. Everything looks really blurry and crappy. So I haven't been able to switch to it yet, but it's good that they're thinking about it. And they have something else coming out, which is this WSL or like Android subsystem for Linux. Have you guys seen that? It's like you're going to be able to, no, wait. Windows subsystem for Android, it would be called, I guess. I have no idea what that thing is going to be called. Anyway, it's an Android way of running. You can run Android apps on Windows. That's the point. It's going to be kind of cool. It felt exactly the same as using VCXserve. Yeah, so I use X410, which is like, I think the best one. I tried VCXserve and I thought it was like, I don't know, kind of bad. X410 is quite a bit better. You have to pay like $20 for it, but it's like a bit better. And yeah, the WSL-G is like just sort of worse than VCXserve and X410. I couldn't really make it work properly for me. Anyway, so that's what Dev does. It just builds the database, but it's going to be good. It's going to be fast. I think it's going to be better over time. Cooked beef Wellington. So we push this again. Now we wait again. Yeah, so I don't know. This is what's up, you guys. I think this is what's up. I don't know if I really have a new project to work on right now. I definitely don't. We learned about my special abbreviation list.txt. I'm going to put this into a gist. Just for funsies. It's going to be called my special abbreviation list.txt. Now, in any case, if anybody ever has a question about these, which they will not, nobody's ever asked about these before, then there's going to be a handy little command for that. Isn't that great? Isn't that great? Just fantastic. Oh God, I think I misspelled it. Commands, add abbreviations. Commands, delete abbreviations. All right. Hell yeah. Thanks for running those test cases, Lithium. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Well, maybe we end. I feel like I don't have another thing to do besides mess around with GitHub Copilot. And that's kind of losing its luster a little bit. What else do we do? I forgot to add I am not a lawyer. And I think I also forgot to add IMHO, didn't I? People complain a lot about 3-letter acronyms, but nobody ever asks, what about the 4-letter acronyms, which I feel like are way worse. There's more of them. They have more letters. They're harder to remember. Twitch source code reacts? I haven't looked at that Twitch source code. Is it like on the internet, or do you have to download a torrent? Twitch source code leak. Maybe it's on GitHub. I'm not going to download a torrent, you guys. I'm also kind of afraid that like browsing this, I'm going to get like some weird images that are going to get me banned from Twitch or something. Yeah, maybe we don't do this. maybe we don't go down that path. One package had 5 levels of vendoring. Dang. Dang. Oh, man. I feel like we need to do reaction videos. If I really want to become a good Twitch streamer, I have to learn how to do reaction videos. But I don't know if I want to do that. I don't know if that's really in my future. I did start, I have a guilty pleasure, which is that I like actually watching these Twitch chat can break serverless cockroach. That would be fun. You know, I really do want to resurrect that Twitch plays CockroachDB thing. That thing was awesome. That thing was like so fun to mess around with. Maybe I should resurrect that. The thing is, I don't want to do that on stream because I feel like it's easy to like leak a bunch of stuff. But I really want to resurrect that. That was really quite fun. The interns. But do you who was around for Twitch plays CockroachDB? The idea was that we had this, there was another channel. It was called Twitch plays CockroachDB. Or no, it was Twitch runs CockroachDB. Yeah. So this channel, basically it had this always on screen share of like a SQL shell and also like some graphs about what the database was doing. And if you were to chat in the chat box, it would just exactly mirror whatever you chatted into the SQL shell so that you could send arbitrary SQL commands to this database. And it was pretty funny. At one point, we had like kind of a lot of viewers for a little while. For it, like in the middle of the night, like a bunch of people found it and started like spamming commands. That was funny. But that was before we did serverless. I think it would be fun to resurrect it for serverless, just to see what would happen, you know? That'd be fun, right? Yeah, you're an OG, man. If you remember that thing, you're definitely an OG because that was a long time ago. That was definitely a long time ago. I feel like there's probably a more fun Twitch runs thing that we could think of doing, but I don't know what it would be. I forgot, I also did that Twitch plays Super Mario World in an emulator using save states thing. I forgot about that too. That was actually pretty hilarious. And that was, I actually didn't have a Windows machine at that point, so it was like way more annoying than it had to be. But the idea with that is that you could put in inputs and then a number of frames, and it would run the emulator with those inputs for that number of frames. That was a fun project, but I never really finished it. I got kind of bored of it. That was back when I did side projects. I feel like I haven't had time for side projects in a really long time. Just gotten so much busier at work that it's really mainly my Friday stream that I get to do whatever, not like on the weekends. Just feel like I have to decompress and not do coding stuff on the weekends, I guess. But I don't know. Who's doing side projects in their lives? Like, how are you feeling? I feel like the side project discourse, it goes back and forth between things that people want to do and things that people don't want to do. Clean washing machine. Yeah, so Dirter has definitely got some classic side projects that involve programming himself to clean washing machines. Robin's got a lot of side projects. Dominic's got half a dozen. Side projects is wishing I had more time to get into them. Yeah, I feel you on that. I feel like my side project is always like figure out how to categorize all the side projects that I want to do using like the perfect to-do list information management system, but that wastes a ton of time. I always revert to like paper notes, like physical paper notes, not an app called Paper Notes or anything like that. For a while I was using org mode, but then I went on vacation for a month and forgot how to use org mode. Zettelkasten is weird because it's not really good for to-dos. It's like good if you want to spend a lot of time writing, but I don't really want to spend a lot of time writing, honestly. Was I a nail model in my past? Why, yes. Why, yes, I was. Look at my beautiful nails. Fountain pen. But I use paper notes. Like that's the only thing that I do use. I think that fountain pens seem like a waste of money and time, frankly. I mean, it's like it's a waste in a good way that you if you're happy about wasting time in that way, that's a good thing for you, but I don't know if it's a good thing for any arbitrary person who wants to just get something done. Why can't I afford a keyboard with a full set of keys? Yeah, I ran out of money for that, unfortunately. I could only get half of them. Missing a bunch of keys on this keyboard. I do actually have 2 of them though, so it's kind of weird. Like I got one, and then instead of just putting more keys in the middle, I just got another copy. One of them's way louder than the other. This is my loud keyboard. This is my quiet keyboard. That's not what they mean by keyboard layers? Are you sure? Yeah, I thought that was what they meant. They're like, yeah, switch layers. Oh, that's funny. Yeah. I like to type like this. Yeah, wouldn't that be cool? Yeah, what if I put them kind of like this? The Vim clutch. Any Vim users in the chat use a Vim clutch? You guys know about the Vim clutch? You like hold down the clutch and then you're in insert mode. You let go, you're back to normal mode. The best way to Vim. I don't know if people who've added more pedals than just the Vim clutch. Cross-handed coding? This seems impossible. Okay, let's see if I can type my name. Jo or Dan. That's really tough. It's quite difficult. Pedals are good for Emacs. I did get another Iris. Yeah, I got this. The second one I have, it has hot swappable switches and then quieter switches installed in it, so I don't piss off my girlfriend too much by typing late into the night, as I sometimes do, with loud Kyle Jade box switches. Too loud, much too loud. Pedals are good for SQL coders. Yeah, you hold it down, you get shift. Just like yelling all the time. Okay, so is this still having a problem then, or what? You almost waited for the hot swappable board but couldn't do it. Why is this thing so slow today? I don't understand it. It's driving me crazy. Yeah, but the box switches are a mistake. I'm not gonna lie. They were a big mistake. Like, it's very loud. Very loud. They do feel really good, but I think the Bobas actually might feel better. The box switches, you really have to press hard. They're heavy. They're really quite. It's like a finger workout. Have I done regression testing using the random SQL generator? Yeah. So we run the random generators every night, and we make sure that the failures that we get are either categorized as like benign or dealt with. So I don't know if that's what you mean by regression testing, but we do use the generator in regular testing all the time. 100% of a keyboard to launch? What version? Oh, comparing across versions that the behavior is the same. That we haven't done. So we use this other thing for correctness testing called TLP. We've been investing a lot into this thing called TLP, ternary logic partitioning, which is a thing that takes a query and runs it so that it runs it like one way and then in an inverse way with an inverse filter. And then it also runs it with like null as a filter. So you can get like true, false, and null for all of the different expression types. And that's kind of like what we've been doing we've been investing a lot into that for correctness testing randomized. And that's pretty good because obviously for some of these things, it should be like versions are not, it should just not return wrong answers kind of thing. But yeah, I think regression testing using that could be interesting. That's an interesting idea. I'll have to think about that one. I feel like it's already hard enough though to like categorize these problems that like adding the element of cross version might be really overwhelming at first. I'm not sure though. Keychron Q1. I've heard of that. Keychron Q1. Very pretty. Pretty looking keyboard. Enthusiast quality keyboard right out of the box. Very cool. Bunch of commands and then dump the database. Yeah, that's an interesting idea. For mutations then? Yeah. It's kind of tricky. It's not non-deterministic. Like the issue is going to be that, like if you did byte by byte comparison, it definitely would be non-deterministic in confusing ways. And that would be sad. I think that you could like disable a bunch of stuff and maybe it would be deterministic, but the issue though is really that like when we add schema related features, the randomized test generation always likes to use as many features as it can. And so it's tricky to like, you'd have to sort of add some feature flags to the random test generator itself and make sure that when you do the regression testing that you're not testing with things that aren't supported in the old version. It's like things that you could do. It's just all of these things, like they require a huge investment. And so we haven't like necessarily, it's hard to decide how to invest in this stuff because it's such a broad world of stuff that picking a direction is kind of like, it's almost like any direction is good and the person who's working on randomized testing like picks a direction and like goes with it, and that's going to be a good direction just because it's like such a wide open space. But yeah, internal error in my new test. Internal error, context deadline exceeded. Okay, well that's perfectly useless, and it's under maybe stress race. So I did need to make this thing skip under race. I suspected I would need to do that, so we'll add that back. This test is too slow to complete under race. Yeah. So hopefully that's going to be the end of that. I don't know. I'm getting tired of waiting around for this thing though. I think I'm gonna search for someone to raid and call it a night. Starting to get that sleepy feeling. Let's see if we can find somebody that we haven't raided in a little while. Ba 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 doo boo boo doo. Yeah, TLP is really awesome. It's really incredibly cool. So we worked with this guy, Manuel Rigger, who developed it. He actually implemented against Cockroach as part of his PhD thesis, and then we like took that work and re-implemented it ourselves to be more customizable. But it's a really good. Here, I'll send you the link. It's pretty neat. Pretty neat stuff. He's got a bunch of techniques like this, actually, that are pretty interesting. There's also this thing called pivoted query synthesis and no rec. Those ones I'm less clear about how they work, but there's a few different things that he's done that how come we're not I feel like I want to make sure that Cockroach gets added to this page that explains what databases are using as techniques, because we definitely use these techniques. I see that we're not listed here, and that's not correct, because we definitely use these things. I'll have to email him about it. But anyway, yeah, Manuel Rigger, smart guy. DuckDB is pretty cool, actually. But yeah, they should list Cockroach. I think he just didn't realize that we implemented it ourselves just yet. I see. Yeah, people love to name their databases after animals, though. It's like the most fun thing for people to do for some reason. Why don't we haven't raided this fellow in a little while. Why don't we give them a raid? Most people pick pleasant animals, right? So we're gonna raid Alt F4. Alt F4, you know, they used to be around a bit more. Maybe they were gone for a bit. Looks like they've been streaming for a while. Hopefully they won't end right when we raid. But yeah, say hi. You know, I think it's Alt F4 is kind of an OG coding channel, so definitely I learned from Alt F4. Give them a shout. Anyway, you guys, thanks so much for tuning in. It was really a lot of fun. I had a great time. Have a good weekend. Enjoy yourself. And I'll see you all next time. All right. Bye-bye.